last outing of 2024. The Cuban righty tries to temper the Miami Marlins bats, who thumped the Blue Jays to the tune of 15 runs yesterday. Hi, everyone. I appreciate you joining us today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali is our host, Nick Blackmore is our producer, and our technical directors are Luke Swadron and Tom Young. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Niagara Falls and St. Catharines, Ontario. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. As Toronto enters the second last game of the year, a little bit of franchise history is on the line. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. sits 199 hits on the season, one away from becoming the 6th Blue Jay ever to reach 200. We'll see if he can pull it off next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app at sportsnet.ca and across the Sportsnet radio network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's building center. Visit timbermart.ca.
Jaden Daniels.
Hey, baseball fans. Thank you for hanging out with us for this Toronto Blue Jays game. It is almost over. This is the last series we have of the season against the Miami Marlins. Still weird saying that. They're the Florida Marlins to me. But I'm glad you guys have been here. Please hit that like button down below. And it's been a great season with you guys. Thank you all for chatting it up. Let's get back to the baseball. Let's go, Jays. Finish this season out strong. Let's sweep the Marlins, or at least win a couple games. Jeez. All right, guys, back to the chat. Go, Jays, go.
And on the SiriusXM app.
He's aware of it. You know, that's a pretty cool benchmark for any hitter. You know, it means you play a lot, and it means you're really good at what you do. He's aware of it for sure. And I think hopefully he gets to that point, and it's a nice thing for him to say over the course of a very young but really very, very impressive career already. And I think that he can challenge for that year in and year out. So hopefully he can get it done and smile about that and get the ball. And hopefully he can continue to do it here for a lot of years.
That is Blue Jays manager John Schneider talking before this Game 2 of the series about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is on the cusp of a 200-hit season. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. And Chris, maybe a little bit more common 10, 15 years ago, but it doesn't happen all that often today. A player threatening or even, it looks like, reaching 200 hits in a year that obviously hasn't had a lot of highs for the Blue Jays. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has certainly been one of them.
Well, obviously Vladimir has been incredible this season, and the most incredible thing about it is he didn't really have a great April. You look back at his season, April was really slow. He was swinging at that slider way off the plate time and time again. And then it's almost like when May came, he just decided to stop swinging at that pitch. He made pitchers come to him. He made pitchers make mistakes. And the biggest thing when you look back at great hitters, Hall of Fame pitchers or Hall of Fame hitters, is they don't miss mistakes. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been doing a ton of damage on pitchers' mistakes. And that's kind of the calling card for most Hall of Fame hitters, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is just one of those great hitters.
Vladdy will slot in as the DH batting third today. We will see him coming up batting in the bottom of the first inning. Before we get to the top of the first, let's go to the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, and can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. Blue Jays 74 and 86, 19 back of the division, 11 back of the wild card. Marlins are 60 and 100, 34 back of the division, 28 back of the wild card. We will be updating you on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard throughout the day. Still some seeding to be decided in the American League. Wild card teams are locked in, but Detroit and Kansas City battling for the number 2 or 3 spot. And in the National League, Atlanta, the Mets, and Arizona, all three tied for only 2 spots that can be taken up in the playoffs. We will definitely get you the updates as those scores go on. Blue Jays marching out onto the field in their deep blue uniforms with white pants. Let's start with the lineup for the Miami Marlins today, Chris, managed by acting manager Luis Ureta.
Well, leading off for those Miami Marlins is Xavier Edwards. He'll be at shortstop. At third base, batting second is Connor Norby. Batting third is Jake Berger. He'll be at first base. In the cleanup spot is Jesus Sanchez. He'll be in right field today. DHing and batting fifth is Jonah Bride. Batting sixth is Griffin Conine. He'll be in left field. In center field is Dane Myers. He'll bat seventh. Batting eighth is Javier Sanoa. He'll be at second base. And behind the plate, batting ninth, is Johnny Pereda. Opening for the Miami Marlins is Xavier Curry. He's making his 5th start of the season. For the Toronto Blue Jays, leading off is George Springer. He'll be in right field. In left field, batting second is Nathan Lucas. Batting third is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He'll be DHing today. At first base, cleaning up is Spencer Horwitz. Batting fifth is Alejandro Kirk. He'll be behind the plate. Batting sixth is Ernie Clement. He'll be at shortstop. At third base, batting seventh is Addison Barger. Batting eighth is Davis Schneider. He'll be at second base. And batting ninth in center field is Joey Loperfido. On the mound for the Jays, making his 21st start of the season, is Yariel Rodriguez.
Rodriguez 1-7 with a 4.41 ERA. He's punched out 80, walked 38 in 81 and 2/3 innings. In command, a bit of a problem for Rodriguez in his last start. Walked 3 in 4 innings, including 3 leadoff walks in those 4 innings. Gave up 3 runs to the Tampa Bay Rays through 81 pitches in what was a Blue Jays loss.
Yeah, this is a big start for Yariel Rodriguez. Obviously, he wants to end 2024 on a high note. I don't know how many pitches he's going to throw or how many innings he's going to throw today, but this is a big, big start. Ross Atkins probably doesn't know if Yariel Rodriguez will be in that starting rotation for 2025. He's a guy that cannot be optioned to Buffalo. He will be on the roster. We just don't know where he'll be yet.
We do know he's on the mound today, and he's getting set to face Xavier Edwards, the switch-hitting shortstop for the Marlins, to begin this ball game. Marlins again in their black jerseys, gray pants. Time called in by the home plate umpire. Rodriguez steps to the left, brings the glove up, kicks, and delivers. And the fastball's outside, ball 1. Time of the first pitch today is 3:08 Eastern. The roof is closed. It's a little bit chilly and cloudy in downtown Toronto. Has not discouraged the crowd, though. We saw over 31,000 yesterday, and it's looking like a pretty full house again today as the 1-0 misses outside, 2-0. For Rodriguez, the mix is 4-seamer, sinker, slider, curve, and splitter. He stands facing home plate, first base side of the rubber, the wind, and the 2-0. Swing and a pop-up, third base side foul. Running over toward his own dugout is Addison Barger, but that one's going to hit off the netting that slants over the dugout and roll back into the seats, 2-1.
The biggest issue that Yariel Rodriguez has had early on in his starts is throwing strikes. He's fallen behind Xavier Edwards already, 2-1 early in this at-bat, but if he's going to be a good big league starter, a serviceable big league starter, he has to pound the zone with that fastball and establish the fastball, and he's really been up and down with that this season.
Rodriguez nods in the direction of Kirk, winds again, his 2-1. Fastball, called strike, 95 on the outside edge, and that's where you see the flashes of brilliance. It's 2-2. Edwards, the leadoff hitter for the Marlins in his 69th game of the year, a .327 hitter with 11 doubles, 5 triples, and a homer. He's driven in 26, and he's also swiped 31 bags in those 68 games. He asked for time, steps back in. Black bat for the switch hitter batting left. Matches the jersey. Here's the 2-2. Down and in with a slider, ball 3.
Xavier Edwards is a really exciting player. It's almost like whenever he makes contact with the baseball, he's thinking 2 and sometimes even 3.
I was going to say a little bit more than 2 yesterday. Despite the limited time, he is now the Marlins triples leader with 5 on the season. In a 3-2 count with Yariel Rodriguez to start the day. Here's the payoff pitch. Down and in, ball 4. We're in the first inning, which is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. Home plate umpire is David Arrieta today. Gabe Morales at first. Chris Guccione, the crew chief man, second. Over at third base, Ryan Additon. Runner on first, nobody out. Connor Norby up to the plate, the third baseman and right-handed hitter. Rodriguez working from the stretch, the pitch home. And it's high, although just high, ball 1.
You really have to keep an eye on Edwards over there. Like you said, 31 stolen bases on the season and really a small sample size.
Only caught 4 times. 1-0. Swing and a ground ball foul back behind the plate. It's a good matchup, though. You have a guy with a lot of stolen bases in Edwards, and then you have Alejandro Kirk, who's thrown out 27 runners trying to steal this year.
Didn't think you'd say that at the beginning of the season. My, oh, my.
A lot has changed. Turn and throw over to first. Decent move and a dive back from Edwards. No tag applied by Spencer Horwitz, the first baseman today. A right-handed first baseman, so he tags across his body on the backhand side. Edwards leading off again. Horwitz set up on the front corner of the bag near the mound. And the 1-1. Swing and a liner foul just past third base coach Griffin Benedict for Miami. It's 1-2.
Xavier Edwards actually took 2 or 3 really hard steps towards second base and then put the brakes on. I'm assuming that he slipped over there.
No score, top of the first inning. Edwards on first, nobody out. And Rodriguez's 10th pitch of the day. Swing and a grounder foul. With that pitch, he gets to even on balls and strikes so far at 5 apiece.
So he's thrown 10 pitches already in this game. Hasn't gotten a guy out yet. Do we know how many pitches he's supposed to throw in this ballgame?
There was no stated pitch count for Rodriguez. 1-2. Fastball called, strike 3. 95 on the outer third, freezes Norby for the first out of the day.
And those are the types of fastballs that he will have to throw if he's going to be a part of this rotation next year. Really good fastballs down in the strike zone. Doesn't get much better than that at 95 miles an hour.
A walk and a strikeout so far for Rodriguez, and Jake Berger is up to the plate. Was the DH yesterday, today plays first. Runner on first in the pitch. Fouled off of Alejandro Kirk and back into the backstop, 0-1.
All of a sudden, he's starting to fill that zone up, establishing the fastball. Then he can work in those breaking balls. You don't want to nibble in the first inning. That's probably the worst thing you can do if you're a starting pitcher. You put your defense back on your heels. Pound that strike zone with the fastball.
The 0-1. Swing and a fly ball right field. That sends Springer back near the warning track. He'll curl near the corner and on the turf make the catch. 2 outs.
How about that? 2 good fastballs to Jake Berger, a power hitter. Early on in the season, even midway through this season, we would see Yariel Rodriguez nibble with off-speed stuff. Looks good going at him like that with the fastball.
John Schneider was asked about what Yariel Rodriguez might change with his pitch mix going into next year. And he said pretty simply, more fastballs, a little more splitter, and less sliders. 2 outs and Jesus Sanchez is up. He doubled in the first Marlins run in the first inning yesterday. Left-handed hitter, the pitch home from Rodriguez. Goes with the curve and misses downstairs, ball 1.
Well, we've talked about this before, but it's almost like he still has that reliever mentality where he's trying to strike everybody out. A starter has to conserve pitches. They have to keep that pitch count low, go deep into ball games. Eventually, he'll get that mentality.
1-0 pitch. Called strike. Threw the curve again and hit the knees, 1-1. Jesus Sanchez, the batter for the Marlins, is their leader in doubles with 25. hitting .251 this year, 18 home runs and 64 RBIs. 1-1. Outside, 2-1. Sanchez, a tall left-handed hitter, does not bend his knees very much in the stance. Twirls the bat around, pointed up toward the sky. 2-1. In the dirt, ball 3. Through the splitter for the first time on the day. He hasn't given Sanchez a fastball yet.
You probably saw that double that Sanchez hit yesterday, 113 miles an hour in the gap. Absolutely smoked that thing.
Hit it off Jose Barrios as the Marlins went up 3-0 before the Blue Jays even hit yesterday. 3-1. Fastball just outside, ball 4. It's going to be a second walk in the inning. Up to second goes Edwards, down to first goes Jesus Sanchez.
And again, just a little bit of nibbling there in that at-bat. You want to throw that fastball down and away early in the count, but instead Yariel was just nibbling with the off-speed pitches and ends up walking Sanchez.
It's cost him a fair number of pitches now, 18 in the first inning with 2 outs and 2 on. Jonah Bride is up to the plate. He really hurt the Blue Jays yesterday. He's DHing today after playing first on Friday. First pitch fastball for a strike, 0-1. Main piece of damage that Bride did yesterday was a 2-run homer in the first. Rodriguez in the stretch, looks at second, and deals home. Missed just up high with the fastball, 1-1. Yariel stretched his left arm out his glove side and then stepped back onto the rubber. On the first base side, comes set at the belt. Brings his glove up to his chin now. A look at the plate and the 1-1. Called strike on the inside third, 1-2.
It's a pretty good pitch right there. Down and in to Bride. Like you mentioned, he had 2 home runs yesterday. Obviously, coming inside to him is a little bit intimidating, but you have to do it to those big guys that like to get their arms extended.
Bride had asked for time, now taps the plate and gets back into his open stance, knees bent. Looking out at Rodriguez, who's set. Right-hander looks at second. One more peek, kicks and fires. Swing and a line drive into right field, bouncing on the turf, a base hit. Edwards getting the wave around third. Throw to the plate, George Springer bounces in just late, and it's an RBI single for Jonah Bride and a 1-0 Marlins lead. Sanchez around to third, so still runners on the corners with 2 outs.
A really good piece of hitting from Bride. Going the other way, there was a big hole. Davis Schneider was shifted towards second base. And Bride, again, just with the good swing, going the other way. A fastball that was kind of inside on the inner third. A little bit of an inside-out swing, but a good job by him finding the hole and getting an RBI.
That leadoff walk ends up hurting Yariel Rodriguez as Edwards is in to score. Still a threat here from the Marlins. Griffin Conine is up, a left-handed hitter. First and third, 2 outs, and the pitch. High ball 1. Bride took a couple deke steps from first base and then stopped. Alejandro Kirk popped up to check on him, but the runner didn't go anywhere. Still first and third. Pretty nice day for Conine yesterday. 2 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Next pitch, called strike. Mentioned yesterday, Conine, a second rounder by the Blue Jays in 2018 out of Duke. One of his collegiate teammates, Joey Loperfido, is looking in at him from center field. 1-1. Swinging a high chopper over the leaping first baseman Horwitz and bouncing down in right field. Sanchez is going to score. Up to third goes Bride. Conine settles into second with an RBI double, and it's deja vu for the Blue Jays, who trail 2-0 in the top of the first.
Well, that's just tough luck for Yariel Rodriguez, but again, you have to go back to those 2 walks that he had earlier on in the inning. Nibbling with 2 hitters. You want to pound the strikes or the fastball down, but 2-0 now, and guess who scored? The 2 walks. That's the biggest thing when you're a starting pitcher. You do not want to walk guys, and Yariel, of course, has walked 2 guys already in this inning.
It's prompted Alejandro Kirk to go out to the mound and talk to Yariel. Gives us a sec to let you know that tomorrow night you could be one of 10 winners splitting a life-changing jackpot over $1.3 million right now. You could also still win Taylor Swift tickets and more. Visit BlueJays.com/5050 to get your tickets before midnight tomorrow from anywhere in Ontario or Nova Scotia.
I'd rather win the million, Ben.
Well, you can get both. You don't have to pick and choose. Dane Myers up to the plate. Center fielders starting for the first time in the series. Second and third for the Marlins. And the first pitch is a fastball blown by him. Swing and a miss, strike one. Rodriguez at 26 pitches now in this first inning. 2 outs, but the 2 in scoring position and a 2-0 Miami lead. A 1. Fastball called strike. 0-2. Game 43 on the year for Dane Myers, a .253 batter, 5 doubles and 2 home runs. He hits from the right side. 0-2. Low with a breaking ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's a pretty good pitch right there. You can see Yariel Rodriguez nodding his head, telling Alejandro Kirk that he liked that pitch. Maybe want to throw it again, a little bit lower in the zone.
It's a strike to ball slider that just landed below the knees. 1-2. Swing and a foul back. Went to the slider again. This one more on the outer edge of the zone. And Myers just reached out to poke it away.
Yeah, that was that slider that has a little bit more horizontal movement where he drops his arm to about 3/4 instead of that vertical movement, that one that drops off the table. I like both of those pitches, though.
Rodriguez's 30th pitch of the inning. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the slider, but the Marlins score a pair of runs after 2 walks in the inning. Hits by Jonah Bride and Griffin Conine make it 2-0 Miami as the Blue Jays come to hit for the first time. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark on Fridays.
Cheers, Insiders. Thanks for hanging out with us this season. It is truly appreciated. All of you Blue Jays fans and Toronto sports fans hanging out every single day all summer long. So thank you for being in the chat. This is normally where I'm like, come on, hit the subscribe button, but I wanted to say thank you to everyone that has on this push to 40,000. We are almost at 40,000 here at the end of the baseball season. Absolutely crazy, the growth that we have seen. So thank you. Cheers, everyone. This one's for you. We'll see you next season. Go, Jays, go.
Props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
That ball is gone. 3rd home run in 4 batters for the Blue Jays.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. 2-0 Marlins, bottom of the first inning at Rogers Center. Xavier Curry on for the start for the Marlins. Winds and delivers to George Springer. And it's a fastball called a strike, 0-1. For Curry, the 26-year-old 6-foot right-hander, it's his 5th start of the season, although it's his first one in a Marlin uniform. Spent part of the year with Cleveland, 0-1. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Typically more of a 2-inning reliever in his Marlins tenure. This could be a big bullpen day for Miami. The 1-1. Fouled off the handle into the top of the netting behind home plate, 1-2.
Nothing more exciting than a bullpen day on the second to last day of the season.
As a reliever, I feel like you should be the guy who likes bullpen. I know they weren't really throwing the bullpen days back then.
Well, I mean, I like it just because you know that you're going to get work. You know that you're probably going to be in the ball game. But, I mean, as a fan, not a good thing.
1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes. For Curry, his mix is four-seamer, slider, and curveball. Every once in a while, he'll mix in a changeup as well. Righty winds and offers. Swing and a high fly ball, very shallow right center. Sanchez is sprinting in, but it's going to be the second baseman, Sanoja, who goes out there to make a two-handed catch. 1 out.
Well, George Springer slammed his bat into the dirt after he made contact with that elevated curveball. I'm not sure if it's because he thought that he would hammer that pitch or it's just because he didn't want to swing at that pitch, but he was not happy with that result.
He's the first Blue Jay retired today. Now Nathan Lucas, a left-handed hitter, up to the plate. Curry kicks and fires and misses outside. Ball 1. Xavier Curry, originally a Guardian draft pick. 2019, he was picked by Cleveland in the 7th round out of Georgia Tech. 1-0. Called strike. Last season, he was a big part of the Cleveland team. As a swingman starter-reliever combo, he threw 95 total innings. This season struggled a little bit in his swingman role and was designated for assignment in the first week of August, claimed by Miami. 1-1. High, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, he's a guy that really doesn't have overpowering stuff. The fastball sits 90-93, relatively straight, but he seems like a guy that knows how to pitch, knows how to get guys out.
Set at the belts, he takes a breath, steps, kicks, and delivers. And the 2-1 is hit in the air, down the right field line, hooking to the corner, and that ball is off the top of the wall. No, it's gone! The first major league home run in the career of Nathan Lucas, and he cuts the Blue Jay deficit in half. It's 2-1.
Well, we've been waiting a long time for that. And Nathan Lucas has been taking some big swings recently. He's been looking for that first career home run, and what a swing right there. A high line drive down the right field line. It just sneaks out of here.
Jesus Sanchez played it off the wall like he thought it stayed in the yard, but no check at all from the Marlins dugout or from the umpires. It is a homer, and now Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up. First pitch. Called strike, 0-1.
And guess what? Nathan Lucas gets that ball back because it bounced back into the field. Good for him.
Speaking of, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trying to make history here, sitting on 199 hits on the season. Swings at the 0-1 and hits it back foul, 0-2. .326 hitter Guerrero picked up a pair of knocks yesterday and a 2-for-4 day that also included a sacrifice fly. The 0-2. Outside, Guerrero leaned over and even stepped over the plate while taking it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 5 Blue Jays ever have had 200 hits in a single season. 1-2. Swing and a liner. Center field and sinking, but it's going to hang up enough to be run down by Dane Myers. There are 2 outs.
You can feel the excitement in this crowd. I don't know if he wants hit number 200 to be kind of a butt-out swing like that, a little bleeder into center field. Let's go for a homer.
I don't think he cares.
I don't think he cares.
I don't think he cares.
I want a home run. I don't want that.
2 outs now, 2-1 ball game as Nathan Lucas has cut the deficit in half with his first homer of his major league career. And Spencer Horwitz is up. First pitch hit high in the air behind the plate, foul to the left. Landing in the 300 level boxes, it's 0-1.
A lot of high fives in that dugout still for Nathan Lucas. You could tell he's a popular guy in that dugout, in that clubhouse.
0-1. Low 1 ball, 1 strike. And Lucas, a guy who has had to spend a lot of time in the minor leagues despite the fact that he's been very productive for a lot of his minor league career. 30-year-old, still in his rookie-eligible season right now. 1-1. High and outside, 2-1. Horwitz with 12 home runs on the season, a .268 batter. The 2-1 pitch. Outside, ball 3. Among rookies with 350 plate appearances or more, Spencer Horwitz entered this series leading the American League in batting average, on-base percentage, and on-base plus slugging. 3-1. Swing and a high foul pop-up out of play to the left. 3-2.
Where do you think Spencer Horwitz ranks as a top rookie? Do you think he's top 7 or 8
in the American League?
Yeah.
I would say that seems fair enough. I'd have to get a whole list in front of me, but if he ended up there in Rookie of the Year voting, that wouldn't shock me. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a very high pop-up back of third. Norby, the third baseman, onto the left field turf. Backpedaling, catches it to his left and ends the inning. Blue Jays on the board. It's the first Major League homer in the career of Nathan Lucas. And Miami leading 2-1 as we go to the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, this is Eddie Vedder.
This is Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam. Hey, it's Jeff Ament. Dive deeper into our universe on our exclusive SiriusXM channel. With live tracks, B-sides, 3 complete concerts a day.
Unless you're actually here, you might not believe it.
And some of our favorite music we've handpicked for you.
Here's the good part, 100% commercial free. Pearl Jam Radio.
Channel 22. Or listen at home with the SiriusXM app.
For the latest updates on Helene, tune to alerts from the Weather Channel. What to expect and who may be impacted.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. When severe weather is impacting any part of the country, alerts from the Weather Channel for live simulcast of the Weather Channel for the latest information to keep you safe and informed.
Tune to alerts from the Weather Channel for the latest information on Helene.
Whenever active weather is breaking, alerts from the Weather Channel on the SiriusXM app. Just search weather.
SiriusXM has everything a college football fan needs.
He's in trouble and down he goes. The ball comes out.
All the big games are on the SiriusXM app.
Down the sidelines, midfield. It's a race. Picking them up, putting them down.
Plus, hear daily in-depth analysis on College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
There's not a lot of holes or weaknesses on that football team, and they've got the goods where you want to have the goods for a championship caliber roster.
Our experts get you ready for game day every day on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy football players, from start-sit decisions to waiver wire advice. Win your fantasy football league with Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and on the SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
The second inning is presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. 2-1 Marlins over Blue Jays. Yariel Rodriguez back on the hill. Winds and delivers to Javier Sanoja. Down and away with the fastball. Ball 1. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. If you weren't with us in the bottom of the first inning, Nathan Lucas just hit his first Major League home run. 1-0. Swing and a fly ball, right field line, and that's going to go out of play foul. 1-1.
Got to put that home run jacket on for the first time. Got to do the little march down that dugout for the first time.
And they silent treatment him. No one. They didn't make the tunnel right away. Everyone just kind of kept watching the game, and then all of a sudden they all turned and mobbed Lucas.
Yeah. He deserves it.
1-1. Swing and a very high pop-up that's going to stay fair, right side of the infield. First baseman Horwitz calls for it, makes the catch on the dirt. 1 out.
That was one of my favorite things to do when I was a starting pitcher in the minor leagues. A guy hit his first home run or something big, and you just silent treatment them. That is the best thing to do in the entire world. No, never. Not once has it ever gotten old.
Well, probably even some extra admiration for Lucas in there. A lot of these guys have played at Buffalo with Nathan Lucas. who's torn up AAA over the last couple seasons but hasn't had much of an opportunity at the majors. Pitch down to Johnny Pereda, the catcher for the Marlins. Bends the knee and takes a pitch down and away, ball 1. Marlins 2, Blue Jays 1. Bottom of the Marlin order with nobody on base and 1 out in the top of the second. 1-0. Inside, Pereda jumps back out of the way, 2-0.
Nathan Lucas's first minor league season was 2015. He's waited over 8 years to be a big leaguer.
Got a little bit of time last year, but not much. 2-0. Called strike 2-1. And while he's been with the team for less days this season than last year, a lot due to an injury he suffered mid-year, he has by far been playing a lot more this season than last year. 2-1. Pereda hits it softly on the ground right at the second baseman, Davis Schneider. Up with it in the throw to first. And 2 quick outs in a second inning for Yariel Rodriguez. That's looking a lot cleaner than his first.
Yeah, well, I think that's the problem with Yariel Rodriguez. He comes out in the first inning and he tries to do too much. He tries to nibble. He kind of works around the strike zone. And I know I've said this a lot this season. He doesn't pound the strike zone. It's almost like he's working in the 7th or 8th inning as a reliever. The second inning is way better than the first inning.
Rodriguez taking on the top of the order now. Xavier Edwards up in the pitch. Called strike. Part of the issue with Rodriguez is first, where he allowed 2 runs, is that he walked Xavier Edwards to start the inning, ended up walking Jesus Sanchez as well, and both came in to score. 0-1. Curveball drops in after the hesitation move with the leg kick. Called strike. It's 0-2. Trying to get the Blue Jays back to the bats. Toronto down 2-1. 2 outs and 2 strikes on Edwards, the switch hitter, who's taken some practice swings just off to the right from home plate. Left-handed hitter right now steps back in, points the bat out toward the infield, and now brings it above his left shoulder. The 0-2. Bounce to the plate. Well, he did walk 2 in the first. Rodriguez also struck out 2 in the first.
Well, there's no doubt that he has very good stuff, very good off-speed pitches. Obviously, the fastball has been up to 96, 97 this season, but you got to throw strikes.
The wind from Rodriguez and the 1-2. Outside 2-2.
97 right there with that fastball just off the plate outside.
Yeah, there's been no doubt throughout that the stuff is good in that it can get guys out. Two-two pitch. Hit on the ground, foul left side, still 2-2. But the question is whether it can be done as a starter on a consistent basis, and that's kind of reflected in the contract. That's about $6 million a season for Rodriguez. If that's a starter, that's an incredibly low-cost starter. Top 3 in the Blue Jay rotation are all making in and around $20 million a year. If it's a reliever, it would be in the top 3 or 4 salaries the Blue Jays have for relievers right now. 2-2 pitch hit on a bounce and a diving stop at second. Schneider pops up, throws to first for a heck of a play to end the inning. One of the best defensive plays of Davis Schneider's season takes a hit away from Edwards, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the second for Yariel Rodriguez. 2-1 Marlins as we get to the middle of the second inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanal Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the ninth. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're twomenintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Middle lane fastball, but he puts it by Cruz. 2 down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Alejandro Kirk digging in as we get started in the bottom of the second inning at Rogers Center. The pitch from Xavier Curry, high ball 1. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Marlins 2, Blue Jays 1 in Game 2 of this series. Curry, the righty starter, with a breath in the pitch. Swatted high out of the air, and it's a pop-up back into the seats. 1-1. Kirk reached way up to get that fastball that was up and in. Kirk's going to adjust his left hand protector right now. Asked for time. Hard to really critique anything he's doing at the plate recently. Alejandro Kirk with a Major League Baseball best 18-game active hit streak. He and the Mets' Jose Iglesias tied for the longest streak in baseball. 1-1. Pitch up high, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, you talked about his defense, his throwing, how good it's progressed over the course of the season, but the bat has really progressed too. Post All-Star, he's hitting .274. I'll take that.
The 2-1. Called strike, 2-2. On the season, a .255 batter, 19 doubles, 5 homers, 54 RBIs. His overall offensive picture is slightly below league average, but not for catchers, just for position players overall. 2-2. Swatted back foul, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. So it's a slightly different profile, maybe when he was a little bit less with the glove and more with the bat in 2022 as a Silver Slugger, but he's provided similar value in different ways to the Blue Jays as an around average hitter with plus defensive skills. 2-2. In the dirt, ball 3.
I think it all depends on who you ask, but of course if you ask a pitcher, what would you rather have? A catcher who is prolific with the glove, prolific with the arm? I think that's where you go. I think that's the guy you want. I mean, his obviously his offensive numbers could be better, but I would much rather have a guy like him behind the plate.
3-2 pitches up high, ball 4. I should mention Kirk's wins above replacement number certainly higher in 2022 than it is this year, but he was also DHing a ton that season as he was one of the Blue Jays' better hitters. He takes a leadoff walk, and Ernie Clement is going to come up to the plate now with a runner on first and nobody out. 2-1 Marlins, bottom of the second. Curry from the stretch, the pitch. Called strike. Marlins are not going to hold on Alejandro Kirk at first base, by the way. Jake Berger plays behind him. 0-1. Swing and a ground ball to third base. Vacuumed up by Norby. Throws to second one. Over to first. Double play.
Now batting, number 47, Addison Barger.
Let's welcome our future announcer, presented by Rogers, 10-year-old Ronick from Maple, announcing Addison Barger, who now comes up after that ground ball double play. So there's 2 outs and the base is empty. 2-1 Marlins, and the pitch from Xavier Curry. Swing and a towering fly ball, shallow center field. Sprinting in, Dane Myers calls for it, makes the catch, and ends the inning. A leadoff walk for the Blue Jays, but no hits, no runs, nobody left. 2-1 Marlins go into the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
We're two men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think two men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're two men and a truck.
Two men and a truck, the movers who care.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Hey, this is Chad Green. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
I was brought up in the front row, that fire and brimstone.
It's the third inning, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Niagara Falls and St. Catharines, Ontario. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. 2-1 Marlins. Yariel Rodriguez dealing to Connor Norby, and the first pitch hit on the ground is short, picked up by Ernie Clement. Throw over to first a little high. Horwitz leaps, catches it, lands on the bag. One pitch and one out for Rodriguez.
And what a concept. You pound the strike zone with that sinker. You get a nice little ground ball. You get a one pitch, one out here in the third inning. That's what you have to do if you're a starting pitcher.
Rodriguez has retired the last 5 he's faced. 3 of the last 4 have been ground balls. The righty takes a breath before dealing to Jake Berger. Bounce the pitch, 1-0. It'll be interesting to see in the offseason if Rodriguez's mechanics are at all tampered with or changed. I'm thinking specifically about the change in arm angles, the hesitation moves, 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Because while some believe that those might provide deception, I know that there are also some who believe that that can make it harder to throw strikes on a consistent basis.
Well, mechanically, if you look at the best pitchers, usually the mechanics are very simple. And I don't think Yariel has very simple mechanics.
1-1 pitch inside, 2-1.
With the different arms, the different arm slots, the hesitation. The delivery just seems like sometimes there's a lot going on, and obviously it's harder to throw strikes if that's happening.
His 2-1. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, first base line. Settles up on a TD sign right on the turf, 2-2.
But then there's also the people that think if there is a lot going on, that offers some deception. Right?
So it's just how much give and take, right. I guess. You mentioned simple mechanics. I think about Kevin Gausman.
Right.
Straight up, straight down to the plate. There's really nothing fancy going on there. 2-2. Bounced. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rodriguez into the wind. His payoff pitch to Berger is a broken bat flare just over the mound. Rodriguez calls for it and makes the catch on the turf near third base, making his own play, 2 outs.
And how about that? We see Chris Bassett do that pretty often, confident catching those pop-ups, but Yariel Rodriguez waving off Addison Barger with that right arm, letting him know that he is in fact an athlete and he can make that catch a lot like Chris Bassett does so often.
I think Jose Barrios stood up off the dugout bench and said, hey, don't catch that ball, Yariel, but He makes the play. Now the pitch to Jesus Sanchez. It's going to be Rodriguez working from a stretch position, it appears. And now the pitch. High ball 1. He kind of deked me there for a sec because he turned sideways like he was starting his windup. He's usually pitching from the wind with nobody on base. His 1-0. Breaking ball drops in. Strike 1. Marlins 2, Blue Jays 1. 2 outs and the base is empty. Top of the 3rd. Right on left, the pitch. Grounded foul, 1-2.
You'll actually see a lot of pitchers these days, relievers, starters, it doesn't matter. Just go from the stretch because, like we just talked about, it's a lot simpler. There's not much to it. It's easier to get to the point of delivery, and it's easier to throw strikes.
1-2. Swing and a fly ball into the seats, foul off to the left.
But then again, there's no deception. So it depends on what camp you're in. I'm in the camp of if you have a ton of deception and if you have a strange delivery but you can throw strikes, do whatever you want. But if you struggle throwing strikes, there has to be something done.
Rodriguez does have 40 walks this season and a little bit over 80 major league innings. Before the 1-2, Alejandro Kirk is going to trot out to the mound, a time where we can welcome you to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. When it comes to home improvements, Timber Mart has the expert advice and the right products at the right price, so you won't find yourself out in left field on your next DIY project. Game on, home team. Timber Mart is Canada's building center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside former Major League reliever Chris LaRue, Show Ali, our host, Nick Blackmore, our producer, Luke Swadron, and Tom Young, our technical directors.
It's kind of like when we were talking about Kevin Youkilis's swing, and I brought up the point, who taught him how to swing like that? There's no way some hitting coach was like, hey, try this out, but he can hit. So nobody's messing with you because there are results, right?
Funny enough, Rodriguez back into the wind now for the 1-2 pitch. And it's drilled down the right field line, but it's going to bounce off the netting, foul. 1-2 still. That's 112 miles an hour off the bat for Jesus Sanchez, who's got some pretty serious thump, but has never hit 20 home runs in a season. Sitting on 18 this year. Another 1-2. Swing and a pop-up left side of the diamond. Addison Barger jogging toward the foul line, makes the catch in fair territory and ends the inning. 7 straight set down by Yariel Rodriguez. The Blue Jays still trailing, though. It's 2-1 Marlins at the middle of 3. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This is John Paul Morosi. On the new SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Joe Mauer.
Well, it's probably the second or third concussion in a short period of time that I received. Looking back, you wish you maybe would have done things a little differently.
The Road to Cooperstown airs Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89, and the all-new SiriusXM app. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
The UEFA Champions League is back on SiriusXM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
This is Dave LaGreca, creator of the biggest pro wrestling show on the planet, Busted Open. Don't miss myself and my Hall of Fame cast and crew as we break down every story in and out of the ring and talk to the top names in the business, like the legend himself, The Undertaker.
I'm actually glad to be on a real show.
Catch Busted Open live every day from 9 to noon Eastern on SiriusXM Fight Nation, channel 156, and on the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, channel 90.
And the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Davis Schneider leads off for the Blue Jays, home half of the 3rd. 2-1 Marlins at Rogers Center. Xavier Curry, the starter, offers to Davis Schneider. Up and in, ball 1. Xavier Curry has faced one above the minimum through 2 innings. Gave up the solo home run to Nathan Lucas in the first. 1-0. Called strike. For a guy who last made a traditional start on June 23rd, he has looked pretty solid through 31 pitches. Righty shrugs his shoulders, deals home. And freezes Schneider with a slow breaking ball for a called strike, 1-2.
That's a really good breaking ball right there. Almost a Chris Bassett type of breaking ball. Maybe 3 miles an hour harder, but it has that huge 12-6 break. Like you said, freezing Davis Schneider.
1-2. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
But Curry's a pitcher. We talked about this earlier, but he's not overpowering. There's nothing special about him. He just throws the right pitch in the right location in the right count.
2-2. Swing and a ground ball down the third baseline. Backhanded by Connor Norby. Pops up, 2 hops, a throw to first in time to get Schneider. Pretty nice play from the young infielder. And there's 1 out.
Well, how many times do you see 3 hops across the diamond? Normally a third baseman tries to throw that thing all the way across the diamond. We've probably been pretty spoiled with Addison Barger and how good his arm is.
Barger ranking in the top 5 in Major League Baseball in terms of arm strength. I don't know that Norby exactly meant to bounce it that early with the 2 hops over to first, but he got it there in just enough time, and there's 1 out with Joey Loperfido up. Number 9 hitter for the Blue Jays faces the first pitch and takes a strike on a check swing, 0-1. Loperfido asking a question of David Arrieta, the home plate ump. That was a borderline pitch, might have been high. Now the right on left offering. Check swing foul off as he tried to hold up on a pitch low but couldn't. 0-2.
And like I've said so many times, a hitter will tell you if a pitch is good or not. And Joey Loperfido with the really late, really awkward half swing, that'll tell you that curveball is a really good one.
Curry winds and delivers. High, ball 1. Xavier Curry, only 26 years old. One of a handful of young players that the Marlins have acquired this season. A year after making the playoffs, they've gone into a pretty big rebuild, it appears. 1-2. Called strike 3. Pretty perfect fastball on the upper and outside corner. Freezes Loperfido for Curry's first punch out of the day.
And Curry doesn't really have a typical pitcher's body either. He almost looks like an outfielder. A little bit shorter, a little bit stockier, muscular guy. I mean, especially nowadays, most guys are 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds. He's not that body at all.
It's worked out for him, though, so far. He's given up 1 run on 1 hit first time through the order. Faces George Springer now with 2 down. First pitch, swing and a miss at the curve, 0-1. Well, the Marlins do have a lot of young, exciting players. It also was reported by ESPN's Jeff Passan today, among a lot of other reports, that Skip Schumacher will not be renegotiating or extending with the Miami Marlins. A 1 pitch hit foul, 0-2. Second-year manager who was National League Manager of the Year last year reportedly renegotiated his contract before the season to remove an option at the end of this year, and perhaps, I don't want to put too much in his mouth, but perhaps not wanting to get into the full rebuild, he will now hit the market with a lot of jobs open. 0-2. Check swing, pitch outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. That is not why Schumacher is not here today, though. He has a family personal matter that is preventing him from managing today or tomorrow, so he is done with the Marlins essentially. 1-2. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I can only imagine that he will be getting a lot of phone calls after the season ends.
We already know the team, one of the teams he played for, the Cincinnati Reds, has a job opening going into next year. 2-2. Swing and a bouncer into left field, a base hit. Was on a line until it about reached halfway up the dirt, skipped through in between the shortstop Edwards and the third baseman Norby, and George Springer has his second hit of the series.
Yeah, it's a good swing from George Springer. A little fastball, 4-seam fastball, about belt high right down the middle, and he smashed that thing through the hole on the left side.
So Springer on first, and Nathan Lucas is up to the plate for the Blue Jays, homering for the first time in his major league career, his last time up. The pitch. Called strike, 0-1.
Is it just me, or is the beard looking a little bit shorter?
I think it was groomed recently.
I think you got a little bit of a trim downstairs.
Lucas playing now in his 21st game with the Blue Jays. 0-1. Foul back, 0-2.
He might be a bona fide big leaguer now, so he's paying $200 to get his beard trimmed downstairs. Good for him.
Hey, he could have done it himself.
Well, you never know.
Lucas leans back, adjusts his helmet. Now brings his bat above his left shoulder, looking at Curry. 2 outs, runner on first, and a throw over there. Springer with a dive back, and he just got in back in time. I'm going to imagine that acting manager Luis Ureta is at least going to have a peek at this one.
We're about to see that slow motion replay. Ooh, we caught George Springer going the other way. I don't know if he's out at first base, but it's close.
Looks like the Marlins are going to challenge, and Xavier Edwards, the shortstop, is starting to jog off the field.
No, that's just a good acting job.
Give him credit, 69 games into his major league career.
Miami is challenging the safe call at first base.
Like you said, caught Springer going the wrong way. He took just a half, maybe a third of a step towards second when he saw that back leg move of Curry, then dove back. It is a right-handed first baseman in Berger, so he's catching with the left and reaching across his body. It's really close. It does benefit the Blue Jays that the call on the field is safe.
Yeah, I think it's too close to overturn. Obviously, I've been wrong in the past, but for me, seeing this angle is just way too close, especially like you said, because the call on the field is safe.
It's hard to see to exactly when Springer hits the bag because his batting gloves are white and so is the base. We haven't seen a straight over-the-top angle because that's not really possible to have a camera on a roof that might not even be there on any given day.
And the interesting thing is the Miami Marlins players are actually, just the infielders at this point, are coming off the field. But I don't think they realize that these umpires aren't making the call. It's New York that's making the call. New York is not watching these guys come off the field, so the acting job is a little bit overacted.
After the call on the field stands, the runner is safe. Miami has to lose their challenge.
Just too close to call. I think if it was 50-50 and there was no call on the field, there's a chance that Springer is called out there. But the right fielder for the Blue Jays just gets back in, and that's going to keep this inning going.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. I mean, we saw the slow motion replay 5 or 6 times, and every single time I thought to myself, it's too close to call. He looks safe to me.
So still an 0-2 count for Nathan Lucas. Marlins lose their challenge. 2 outs, bottom of the third. Springer leading off first, and a 2-1 Marlin lead. Curry is in the set. And the 0-2. Springer takes off for second. Pitch is high and outside. Throw down to second, and it's not in time. Not sure if that was a pitch out or a fastball that just happened to be up and away, but George Springer dives under the tag for his 16th stolen base of the year, and they cannot challenge whether that one was safe or out, so it will stand for Springer.
And I would imagine if they did have a challenge, they probably would have challenged that. That one might have been closer than the one at first base.
I think Edwards, though, might have missed the tag, as now the 1-2 is hit by Lucas to left field. Going back, Conine at the warning track, reaches up and makes the catch to end the inning. No runs on a hit for the Blue Jays. 1 left. They still trail 2-1 after 3. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
In a season already plagued with injuries and underachievers, your fantasy football team is faced with yet another obstacle.
The bye weeks are coming! The bye weeks are coming!
When your star player takes a week off, listen to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio for winning fantasy football advice.
You got to work the waiver wire. You got to make trades. The draft is just a piece of the puzzle.
Our experts tell you who to play in this time of need.
Now the work really starts.
Your frontline source for fantasy football, Channel 87, and on the SiriusXM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too.
This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription? What? Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89. Or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
A new year in the NBA is right around the corner, and NBA Radio has you covered.
Tatum muscles it up and scoring a foul.
Our experts are breaking down the entire league.
That's going to be a fun team to watch.
And bringing you inside the locker room.
It is a must-win game.
Basketball season is just weeks away, and your 24/7 home for hoops is SiriusXM NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Hey everyone, it's Justin Turbin at your 24/7 home for hoops all year long is SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 and the SiriusXM app. Just search NBA Radio.
A Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's the fourth inning presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. 2-1 Marlins. Yariel Rodriguez, the starter, misses inside to Jonah Bride, and it's 1-0. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. 1-0 pitch. Inside 2-0. Rodriguez has retired 7 straight batters. Gave up 2 runs on 2 hits in the first inning. And interesting, Alejandro Kirk walking out the ball after the 2 misses to out in front of the plate, and now the training staff is going to go check on Yariel Rodriguez.
Well, it just looked like Yariel was kind of hopping around. It looked like he might have twisted his ankle just a little bit on that delivery there. We're seeing a slow motion replay. I don't really see anything specific, but he was just hopping around, kind of bending that knee. And John Schneider is out to take a look right now. He's going to throw a couple of warm-up pitches just to see.
Rodriguez tossing with Kirk as he talks to John Schneider and Jose Ministral. And it looks like he's all right. Nods his head. Schneider and Ministral heading back to the dugout. And Yariel Rodriguez kicking away some dirt in the landing spot. Maybe just a bit of an awkward landing on a pitch. And he looks all right to stay in this game. So a 2-0 count to Jonah Bride to lead off this top of the fourth. 2-1 Miami over Toronto. Rodriguez steps to the left, kicks up the left leg, and delivers, and it's a broken bat soft liner up the middle. On a bounce fielded by Schneider, the second baseman, throws on the run to first for the out. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar and Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. Before we go out of town, it's 2-1 Marlins here at Rogers Center. 1 out. Top of the fourth inning, and Griffin Conine is up. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. We mentioned a lot to be decided in terms of wild card seeding, or in the National League, still who gets in and who's going to be left on the outside. 1-0 pitch. Called strike, 1-1. Detroit Tigers are trying to hold on to the second wild card spot, a game up on Kansas City coming into today, although they're down 1-0 to the Chicago White Sox in the second inning in Detroit. 1-1. Inside, 2-1. Meanwhile, Kansas City goes at 7:20 tonight against the Atlanta Braves, who are battling on the other side in the National League. It's Seth Lugo against Reynaldo Lopez, a great pitching matchup in that one. 2-1. Swing and a fly ball center field. Going back low, Perfido backpedaling, makes the catch in front of the track. 2 down.
What was the likelihood that the Tigers would make the playoffs on like August 10th or something?
It was like 2% or something like that.
I think it was less than that. It might have been 0.2%.
I mean, they were below the Blue Jays in the standings at a certain point in the second half. And as we all know who've been following the team, the Blue Jays have not exactly been in it playoff-wise at all in the second half. 2 quick outs here, and the pitch to Dane Myers from Yariel Rodriguez misses low, ball 1. Tigers played great baseball, and frankly, a lot of teams around the playoff picture really slumped in September. 1-0. Called strike.
Kansas City being one of them.
Kansas City being one, Baltimore being one, although that didn't factor in. The Boston Red Sox, after buying at the deadline, did not have a good second half. You could say the same for the Seattle Mariners. Texas Rangers bought at the deadline and did not improve record-wise. 1-1. Foul tip 1-2. And not that everyone was terrible and Detroit just played the same. They got a lot better, but the race turned into a little bit more of a walk, and Detroit sprinted past about 5-6 teams. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 straight scoreless innings for Yariel Rodriguez, 10 retired in a row. And the Blue Jays trying to tie it up next, trailing 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanal Giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the 9th. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend with the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between pizza, and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swanson staring at second. Comes home with a 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 4th inning and another chance at 200 hits. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off for the Blue Jays, who trail the Miami Marlins 2-1. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. lined the ball to center field in the first, but it was caught. His second chance now, and the pitch is a strike. Fastball on the outside corner, 0-1. Next hit would tie 1993 John Olerud. 0-1. Swing and a fly ball down the right field line. It's going to slice out a play into the seats. 0-2. I don't know how you feel, Chris, but one of the things that really impresses me about the 200 hits is that Vlad walks at a decently high clip, 70 walks this year, and it is often hard to come up with that many hits when you walk. 0-2. High, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mean, he is very obviously the best hitter in this lineup, and generally when that happens, you get a guy who's antsy, you get a guy that puts pressure on himself to try to drive the offense, but Vlad, like you said, just takes his walks, kind of lets Spencer Horwitz do some damage.
1-2 pitch is down and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now, I should mention 1993 John Olerud somehow walked 110 odd times and came up with 200 hits, and one of the best offensive seasons the Blue Jays ever had. 2-2. Swing and a pop-up, playable for Jake Berger back of first base. First baseman on the right field turf makes the catch, and we'll have to wait until the next plate appearance for Guerrero, who's now 0-2. Two-1 right now for the Marlins over the Blue Jays. 1 out, bases empty, bottom of the 4th inning. You mentioned Spencer Horwitz. He's up now, coming off 2 RBIs on a base hit yesterday. 0 for 1 today. The right on left pitch. In the dirt, ball 1. Xavier Curry at 53 pitches, winds and delivers. And it's a fastball at 93 on the outside corner, strike 1.
Pretty good crowd here today.
I would guess that it's more than the 31.5 yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
1-1. Swing and a fly ball left center. Tracking back Dane Myers, the center fielder, into the gap. Waves off Griffin Conine and makes the catch. 2 down.
It's too bad the roof isn't open today. A little bit cloudy, a little bit cool. I would imagine there's a little bit of a threat of rain in the forecast.
There is. It looks like 80% rain at the 5 o'clock hour, and perhaps that contributing. But a lot of fans on hand, creating a fun environment in game 161 of the year. 2 down, bases empty. The pitch to Alejandro Kirk. Swing and a miss. 0-1. New baseball for the right-hander Xavier Curry, who may not have even known he was going to start today until a day or two ago, and has provided really strong innings so far. 3 2/3, 1 run allowed on 2 hits for the Marlins. 0-1. Swing and a soft liner caught at first, knee high by Jake Berger to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Curry, and we go to the 5th. Marlins leading the Blue Jays 2-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
SiriusXM presents a brand new exclusive show with former UN ambassador, governor, and presidential candidate Nikki Haley on Nikki Haley Live.
Join me on Nikki Haley Live, a show where we talk about facts, policies that affect your family, stories from the campaign trail, the upcoming election, and maybe a bit about music and sports along the way. Tune in to Nikki Haley Live.
Nikki Haley Live, Wednesdays at 8 a.m. East on Triumph, Channel 111, and on the SiriusXM app.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
And a high drive, deep right center.
It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM has everything a college football fan needs.
He's in trouble and down he goes. The ball comes out.
All the big games are on the SiriusXM app.
Down the sidelines, midfield. It's a race. Picking them up, putting them down.
Plus, hear daily in-depth analysis on College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
There's not a lot of holes or weaknesses on that football team, and they've got the goods where you want to have the goods for a championship caliber roster.
Our experts get you ready for game day every day on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 5th inning in downtown Toronto, and Yariel Rodriguez back out on the mound for the Blue Jays. Thanks for tuning in today in the second to last game of the year. I'm Ben Schulman, and to my left is Chris LaRue. Blue Jays trailing the Miami Marlins 2-1. Both teams scored all 3 runs in that first inning. Yariel Rodriguez has really settled in after the 2 walks and 2 hits allowed in the first. He has not allowed a base runner since he struck out Myers to end that first. Deals now to Javier Sanoja, the second baseman. The pitch. Line to right field. It's going to sink and get out of play, foul. 0-1. Curly-haired second baseman Sanoja playing in just his 15th Major League game. Called up for his debut on September 7th. 0-1 pitch. Ugly wave and a miss. Out of spinning slider, 0-2.
His stuff is noticeably better since that first inning, especially the fastball.
Rodriguez shakes off a sign, now gets into the one. He kicks and delivers. And it's a breaking ball hit foul into the netting behind home plate. Couple of shakeoffs before another 0-2. Pitch on the way from Yariel Rodriguez. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the over-the-top curveball. And that's the first out of the inning, 4th strikeout on the day for the righty.
And that might have been his best curveball of the day. Looked like a very hittable pitch, getting the rookie Sanoa. And then it just dove right off the table. Such tight spin. Good arm action. Great pitch from Yariel Rodriguez.
Turning into a very solid start so far for the righty. Now 4 1/3 innings. He'll face Johnny Pereda, the catcher and bottom of the order hitter. First pitch way behind 94 with the swing and a miss. Strike 1.
It's almost like Pereda was looking for something off speed there. Got really tied up from that fastball on the inside part.
Rodriguez quickly in the wind. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Pounded him in again with the fastball. 0-2.
When you see a guy way behind on your fastball, what's the point of throwing something slower? You're just helping out that hitter. That is a great pitch selection right there from Kirk and Yariel Rodriguez.
Went to the exact same spot as well. Yariel steps to the left, twists back, and delivers home. Went with the fastball again, missed up and in at 96. 2-1 Marlins, 1 out, bases empty, top of the 5th. The 1-2 pitch. Called, strike 3. Dropped the breaking ball in at the knees, and Pereda knew it, walking away right away. That's 3 strikeouts in a row for Yariel going back to last inning, and 2 outs here with nobody on in the top of the 5th.
Well, I said that last curveball to Sanoa might have been his best curveball of the day, but I think I just changed my mind. That one was right there, catching Pereda looking. That was a very tight pitch and very good arm action.
Rodriguez winds now and delivers to Xavier Edwards. First pitch up and away, ball 1. Quickly, let's pop over to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. One of your former teams, Chris, the Miami Marlins in town. The other 2 teams that you pitched for, the Yankees and Pirates, already finished up today with the Buccos beating the Yankees 9-4. Edwards swings and lines the next pitch into the left center field gap. That's going to get down for a base hit. Cut off by Lucas. Edwards headed to second. Lucas spins, throws it in, but it'll be a 2-out stand-up double. So on that out-of-town scoreboard, Pittsburgh thumps New York, but that's not really what a lot of people are focusing on. In that game, Yankee first baseman Anthony Rizzo had to leave after being hit by a pitch in the 7th inning on the right hand. It was actually former Blue Jay Ryan Barucki who got him with a slider, and concern right now that Anthony Rizzo has broken a finger or a bone in that right hand, and that could threaten his availability for the postseason. First pitch to Connor Norby, swing and a miss, strike 1.
And you had mentioned that there's talk of him just powering through and trying to get through those broken fingers. Is it multiple broken fingers?
I'm unsure right now. I think it's all early reporting, but it might be one of those situations where if you treat it, you're out for the year. Runner on second, 2 down in the 0-1. Swing and a ground ball foul. Norby hunched over in pain as he hit that one so hard off of his foot it rolled almost all the way to third base. 0-2.
And Norby's in obvious pain right now. We talked yesterday about the fact that even though you have those pads on the shin, on the top of the foot, actually that didn't get him on the pad. That got him right on the kneecap.
Yeah.
No wonder he's in some pain.
They don't really have a lot of protection for that high up your leg. Good thing is Norby is back up on his feet. By the way, our out-of-town scores and updates brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. And Norby appears to be all right. Young third baseman stepping in. He does wear that shin protection. Norby, a right-handed hitter. Facing Yariel Rodriguez with a runner on second, 2 down. And the 0-2. Ground ball foul off to the right.
Well, it's almost like if he's going to be protected from that last foul ball, it might need to wear some catcher's pads.
Yeah, I think some of your body just has to be exposed. And, I mean, we saw Brandon Lau kind of with knee protection, but he also broke his kneecap last year, so that's a much more specific use. A look at second in another 0-2. Swing and a fly ball right center field. On the run, the center fielder, Lo Perfido, a long way back to the warning track, but he gets there in time to make the play. and end the inning. Rodriguez strands the 2-out double and has gone through 5 innings, allowing 2 runs. Blue Jays down 2-1 to the Marlins, middle of the 5th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray.
Along with Charles Barkley and Coach Belichick.
One of the reasons I admire Coach Belichick, the number one thing has always got to be the game. So always respect the guys who played the game before you.
I try to teach our players that all the time, every chance I get. The history of the game. You know, the game just didn't get great when you walked on the field.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the all-new SiriusXM app.
If you want to win your fantasy football league, you need to listen to Fantasy Sports Radio. From lineup decisions to daily fantasy to waiver wire advice, injury updates, and so much more.
You cannot afford to drop a running back.
Our experts will help you dominate.
I think there's value there on Austin Eckler in PPR formats.
Set your lineup with Fantasy Sports Radio. Your home for fantasy football all season long. Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM.
Let's go, man!
We're back on the track Sunday.
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Hollywood Casino 400 from Kansas Speedway.
Checker fly, baby. Yeah!
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. In the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Yeah!
Get closer to everything that moves you wherever you are with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah!
Fantasy football players, from start-sit decisions to waiver wire advice. Win your fantasy football league with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Here I come.
Bottom of the 5th inning, Blue Jays trailing 2-1 to the Miami Marlins. Ernie Clement leads off, and the pitch from Xavier Curry is lined back to the mound and caught by the pitcher. Wasn't hit all that hard, but still a good reaction from the righty. 1 pitch, 1 out.
This injury report is brought to you by Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count. Call Bergmanis Pereira Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Pereira will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca.
Get to the injury report in a sec. He's Chris LaRue. I'm Ben Schulman. Addison Barger is up. 1 out, bases empty. And the right-on-left pitch. Called strike. One update we got was on Leo Jimenez. He left the game rather quietly in the middle of the game yesterday. It was between the top and bottom of the 7th inning. 0-1. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. And on a rather forgettable play, a real soft liner that Nick Fortes hit up the middle yesterday that Leo had to leap for to catch, he landed awkwardly and jammed his right knee. 1-1. Called strike. 1-2. Blue Jays said they did MRIs and there was no structural damage, just a little bit of inflammation. They call him day to day. Granted, there's literally 1 more day left in the season, so I wouldn't imagine that he plays again tomorrow.
Can we just call it day then?
That's actually exactly what John Schneider said when someone said, well, it's not really day to day. He said, it's day. 1-2. Swing and a 1-hopper to short, backhanded by Edwards. Crow hops off the turf and throws over to first and just beats the sprinting Barger. 2 down. By the way, action in both of the bullpens recently. Blue Jays had Brendan Little up in the pen last inning. It looks like he's ready to go and possibly could come in for the 6th. Darren McCacken, a right-hander on the other side for Miami, is getting loose. 2 down, bases empty. 2-1 Marlins over Blue Jays. And Davis Schneider is up. Curry's pitch. Outside, ball 1.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Yariel Rodriguez is finished. He's thrown 81 pitches in this ballgame, 53 strikes, 5 innings. And outside of that first inning, he did a heck of a job.
Yeah, he did really recover the start after a 2-run first. 1-0. Called strike, 1-1. Rodriguez only allowed a single base runner after that first inning and didn't walk any from the 2nd to 5th, following 2 walks that burned him in the first. 1-1. Schneider hits it softly on the ground to short. Charging in Edwards. Gloves has to throw quick and gets Davis Schneider to end the inning. A really nice effort as well from Xavier Curry, who walks off the mound with another 1-2-3 inning. He's retired the last 7 and kept Miami in front 2-1 as we go to the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikey's accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're leading the largest transit expansion in North America. New projects like the Ontario Line subway and Hazel McCallion Light Rail will relieve overcrowding, with the Scarborough and Yonge North subways connecting more communities, and expanding GO Transit with more trips, faster train service, and 2-way all-day service. All so you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds, paid for by the Government of Ontario.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Springer charges a ball to left field. It's in the seats, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 6th inning at Rogers Center. Thank you so much for joining us today in the second to last game of the year. Yariel Rodriguez pitches into the 6th inning. Righty delivers to Jake Berger. And the first pitch hit on a line into right field, a base hit. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. And it looks like Rodriguez was in this inning just to face the righty slugger Berger. Now that he's aboard and the left-handed hitter Jesus Sanchez is coming up, John Schneider is walking out to the mound to make a pitching change for Brendan Little. Rodriguez with a tough first inning, a very nice second to 5th, and he'll get some fist pumps from his teammates, a pat on the back from John Schneider. And he's going to walk off the mound to an applause from the Rogers Center crowd. 2-1, the Marlins lead the Blue Jays. Runner on first, nobody out, top of the 6th inning. Yariel takes off his cap and tips his hands to the crowd. And let's go over to today's host during this pitching change. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Ben. And before we check the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill, don't forget we do have Jays Talk this evening. Nick Ashbourne is here at the Rogers Center. He and I will have the post-game show. We'll take your calls, take your texts. You can text us right now if you like, 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. I'll throw out the numbers for you to call via the phones once this game is in the books. All right, let's check the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. In Major League Baseball in the American League, all the spots have officially been filled. Yankees, Guardians, Astros, your division winners. Orioles, Tigers, Royals, the wild card. Some seeding to be determined. The Yankees did lose 9-4 to the Pirates today. They have not locked in the #1 overall seed. They can clinch that #1 overall seed in the American League with either a Guardians loss tonight or tomorrow, or by simply winning tomorrow themselves. Ben mentioned this earlier, but elsewhere in that game, Anthony Rizzo was hit by a pitch while at the plate. Reports now saying he fractured 2 fingers, the 4th and 5th fingers on his right hand. Aaron Boone now saying Ben Rice could be considered for the playoff roster. Week 4 in the NFL continuing this weekend. Lots of injury updates. Let's get to the positive ones. 49ers say the tight end George Kittle and QB Brock Purdy, they are good to go. They will play against the Patriots. The Falcons say running back Bijan Robinson and defender Matthew Judon are good to go. They'll play against the Saints. In Green Bay, Packers quarterback Jordan Love is expected to be active this weekend after missing 3 weeks with the sprained MCL. The Chargers are saying that quarterback Justin Herbert will play tomorrow despite the high ankle sprain. And on Monday night, both tight end Sam Laporta and running back Kenneth Walker III will play for the Lions and Seahawks, respectively. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you, as always, by Crown Rust Protection. Back to the action we go. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you, show. Brendan Little is on for the Blue Jays in his 49th appearance of the season, 50th in his major league career. Left-hander with a 3.38 ERA enters with the Blue Jays down 2-1. No outs, top of the sixth, and a runner on first. His pitch to Jesus Sanchez. Ugly swing and a miss and a sinker, 0-1. Last time we saw Brendan Little was against the Red Sox on the 25th. Allowed 2 hits in a scoreless inning of work. Next pitch is another wave and a miss as he pounds the fastball in below the zone, 0-2.
And Brendan Little has very quietly had a pretty solid season. 48 games, his 49th game of the season. 45 and a third innings. That's pretty solid.
28-year-old is really in his rookie year, had 1 appearance before this season. And the next pitch hit on the ground, diving block by Clement at short, but he can't corral it. So it'll be an infield hit there for Jesus Sanchez. Up to second base goes Berger. And the Marlins are threatening now. First and second, nobody out.
Yeah, this is a big spot right here for Brendan Little. You have to try to get a double play. You have to try to strike somebody out. A lot of things to think about. But Ernie Clement with a heck of a play. Both Ernie Clement and Davis Schneider are very good defensively. I don't think they get enough love in the defensive department, but a couple of nice plays from either one of them, or both of them today.
Clement likely keeps Jake Berger from going to third base with that stop, and now it's Jonah Bride up the DH. First pitch, poured over, strike 1. Bride is 1 for 2 on the day, coming off his first career multi-homer game yesterday. Little looks at second, kicks and fires home, and misses down and in with his knuckle curve. Brendan Little, the left-hander, has dominated left-handed hitting this year. 183 batting average and 483 on-base plus slugging. Righties, though, have had success against Brendan Little with an on-base plus slugging of 874. Left on right, his pitch to Bride. Swing and a miss. Very good sinker at the knees, 1-2. Marlins scored a pair in the first inning. That's why they're up 2-1. Here in the sixth, the 1-2. Bounced it to the plate. A check swing by Bride on the curve, but he held back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And since the All-Star break, Brendan Little's been really, really good. 28 ball games and a 2.5 ERA and 25 and a third innings pitched. Just 19 hits given up.
Little steps back onto the third base side of the rubber. Looks in and now sets at the belt. Here's 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Went inside with a sinker and gets the wave over top of it for a big first out of the inning.
I mean, outside of a double play, that's best case scenario right there for Brendan Little.
And now Little will get another left on left matchup following the strikeout as Griffin Conine comes up to the plate. Conine 1 for 2. He had a bit of a Baltimore chop double down the right field line in the first, bouncing it over the first baseman, Spencer Horwitz. First pitch is bounced foul first base side, 0-1. Blue Jays had Griffin Conine in their system in 2020 when Toronto was a surprise contender in that awkward shortened season. They flipped Conine to the Miami Marlins, brought back a veteran infielder in Jonathan Villar. Conine obviously didn't play in the minors that 2020 year, although he grabbed attention immediately in the Marlins system, hitting 36 homers in 2021. 0-1. Check swing, down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Yariel Rodriguez watching on from the first base dugout, or pardon me, the third base dugout. He's responsible for Jake Berger on second. Runner on first, Sanchez, is Littles. With 1 out, the 1-1 offering. Swing and a line drive left field. Sprinting toward the foul line. It gets down in front of Lucas, a base hit. Lucas kind of deked Jake Berger, so he just advances to third, but now the bases are loaded with one out.
Yeah, you could see the frustration from Brendan Little. A really nice pitch, a fastball up and in, and Conine just does a good job muscling it out to left field. But Nathan Lucas with the good job, too, from keeping Berger from scoring on that play. Kind of put his arms up like he was going to catch that baseball, and then got it on a hop and got that ball in quickly.
So the infield moves in to even with the base paths. Bases loaded, one out, 2-1 Marlins, and the center fielder Dane Myers is up. The pitch. Down and away, ball one. Myers 0 for 2 today. Struck out twice against Yariel Rodriguez, both on sliders. 1-0. Fouled back.
Dane Myers does have some speed, so he'll be a tough guy to double up unless he hits a laser at somebody.
Maybe that's why the Blue Jays are a little more in, thinking about home plate more than trying to turn a double play.
And obviously Jake Berger is a guy that you can cut off at home plate pretty easily.
Next pitch. High and outside, ball two. "14 RBIs in the young season of Dane Myers, his 43rd game of the year. Batting in a big spot in a close ball game. 2-1 Marlins. Bases loaded, one out, top of the sixth. Little rocks and deals. And Myers hits it foul through his legs behind him. 2-2.
Man, there is all kinds of movement on that fastball. You can see why he's had so much success this season as a rookie. Just 94 miles an hour darting down. It's just not the general four-seam fastball, two-seam fastball. There's so much sink to it. Can't teach that.
Little looks in. Rocks back and deals. And misses up and away, ball three. It's a full count now, and there's nowhere to put Dane Myers. He has to go in the zone or he'll walk in a run.
Yeah, this is a good situation for Dane Myers to be in. He knows that Brendan Little has to be in the strike zone with this pitch.
Little goes to the rosin bag at the back of the mound, walks up and steps on the rubber at the top of the hill, and now he's set. The 3-2. Swing and a ground ball foul, third base line. And we'll continue after a pretty good sinker right at the bottom of the zone, but a pretty good effort from Myers to fight it off foul.
And that's the beautiful thing about that sinker that Brendan Little has. You can tell a batter that it's coming, and they'll still potentially miss-hit it.
Little set again for another 3-2. The lefty's offering home. Swing and a fly ball deep right field. Springer going back, turns around, and that one is off the top of the wall. Berger in to score. Sanchez 5 feet behind him comes in to score as well. Up to third, Griffin Conine. It's a 2-run double for Dane Myers, and the Marlins creating some distance, up 4-1.
Yeah, again, that's a great situation to be in if you're a hitter. Dane Myers knows that Brendan Little has to be in the strike zone, whether it's a breaking ball, whether it's a fastball. But a pretty good piece of hitting there. That fastball was actually on the black outside, and he just went with it and hammered it off the wall for 2 RBIs.
Nearly a grand slam for Myers, and it is going to be the end of the day for Little, who faces 4 batters, strikes out 1, but gives up 3 hits and allows 1 run of his own and 1 run of Rodriguez's. Second and third, still only 1 out in this 6th inning. Let's go back to today's host. Here's Show Ali.
Thanks very much, Ben. And before we check the out-of-town scoreboard, another reminder that we do have Jays Talk after this game. Nick Ashbourne is here at the Rogers Center. He and I will have the post-game show. Take your calls, take your texts. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text Line. It's always open. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. I'll throw out the numbers for you to call once this game is over. All right, we did some of the positive NFL updates with Week 4 continuing tomorrow. Let's do some of the players who have already been ruled out. For the Raiders, no Devontae Adams or Max Crosby. They will not play against Cleveland. The Eagles are now listing both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown as out. The Texans say Tank Dell and Dameon Pierce are both out. The Jaguars confirm that Evan Engram, the tight end, is out. He will miss another week. And a late one popping up in New Orleans yesterday. The Saints saying wide receiver Chris Olave suffering a hamstring injury. He is questionable for Sunday alongside teammate Alvin Kamara, who is questionable with a cracked rib. We talked some football. Let's talk some footy. Lots of scores in Premier League action. Liverpool beating the Wolves 2-1. Arsenal doubling up Leicester City 4-2. Brentford and West Ham playing to a 1-1 draw. Chelsea doubling up Brighton 4-2. It's a 1-1 draw for Newcastle and Man City, while Fulham blanking Nottingham Forest 1-0. So with Liverpool winning and the Man City draw, Liverpool takes the top spot atop the table of the whole Premier League. We do have more NHL preseason games tonight. 10 games on the go this evening, including Leafs Habs at Montreal at the Bell Center. Puck drop of that game will be at 7 p.m. Eastern. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action here at the Rogers Center. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. The Blue Jays, trying to quiet this Miami Marlin rally, have called on the right-hander Eric Swanson in a very difficult spot. Second and third, one out. The infield in as Javier Sanoja is up. The pitch. Outside, ball one. 2 runs already across for the Marlins this inning. They're up 4-1 here in the 6th. Swanson set, first base side of the rubber. His pitch. Sanoja hits it high in the air, shallow center field. Tagging at third, Conine. His college teammate Loperfido makes the catch. Conine goes halfway and breaks back as Loperfido bounces it back into the infield. And that one not deep enough to score a run, so a good job by Swanson. Now 2 outs.
Well, outside of a strikeout, that's about as good as it gets right there for Eric Swanson. Best case scenario, a little pop-up to the center fielder. In that situation, runners at second and third, less than 2 outs. That's what you're looking for, a pop-up or a strikeout. Pretty good job from Eric Swanson.
Still needs one more out to strand the pair of runners, which are owed to Brendan Little. 4-1 Marlins, second and third, 2 down. Pitch to Johnny Pereda. Swing and a line drive, down in left field, a base hit. In to score, Conine. Myers around third, throw to the plate is in time to get the runner and end the inning. Nathan Lucas throws out a runner trying to score, but 1 run will come in on that single, and it's a 3-run inning overall for Miami. They're up 5-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports.
Week 5 of the college football season features several marquee head-to-head matchups, and SiriusXM College Sports Radio is your place to be to keep up with every single game. They'll have live play-by-play, highlights, and the best guests and analysts breaking it all down for you. That's right now on Channel 84 and the SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM Sports, wherever you are. Your team plays here.
If you love golf, then you should never turn off PGA Tour Radio. Hear from the biggest names in the sport.
Champion golfer of the year is Xander Schauffele.
I think best round of golf ever in my life.
Listen to special shows from people who love the game, like rock and roll legend Alice Cooper.
There's a putt, must be 90 feet long, and you make that putt.
And get help with your own game.
You'll get through your iron shots and have predictable distance.
It's all golf, all the time, on PGA Tour Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and on the SiriusXM app.
I'm John Paul Morosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Each week, I talk with a Baseball Hall of Famer about the challenges they overcame to become an all-time great.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
My leg started shaking.
They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the all-new SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 6th inning at Rogers Center, and the Blue Jays in a bit of a hole. 5-1. The Marlins are leading the Blue Jays after a 3-run top of the 6th. And Miami's going to call upon a new pitcher now after 5 strong innings out of starter Xavier Curry. The right-hander Darren McCacken makes an appearance here for Miami. Righty into the wind, deals to Joey Loperfido, who shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes outside at 81, 1-0. McCacken, a blonde-haired righty, works almost exclusively in the 80s in terms of miles per hour. His 1-0 is a fastball called a strike at 91 that looks well low of the zone. Loperfido can't believe it, 1-1.
Well, McCacken out of Long Beach, California, went to Long Beach State, really hasn't had a great season. An ERA of almost 7, 11 games, 5 games started, 38 innings pitched, just 24 strikeouts.
The wind and the 1-1. Outside, 2-1.
Those strikeout numbers will tell you just exactly what the stuff is like. Not overpowering, like you said. The fastball, 88 to 91 miles an hour.
It's been a roundabout year for McCacken. 2-1. Fouled off 2-2. Made his season debut with the Marlins, at least Major League season debut with the Marlins, in May, and gave up 8 runs to the Oakland A's in 4 2/3 innings, was let go by Miami and picked up by Cleveland, and then actually made his Cleveland debut against the Blue Jays on June 23rd. Toronto scored 2 off of him in 2 innings, but his 2-2 gets a swing and a miss from Joey Loperfido, and there's 1 out.
Well, he's got a really funky delivery, a really long arm, pretty deceptive, brings that arm behind his body, and then it kind of shoots out. You can only assume that, yes, the radar gun says 89, 90 miles an hour, but it plays up just a little bit.
Quick out for McCacken, now faces the top of the order with the Marlins up 5-1. The pitch to George Springer. Check swing. Pitch called a strike as the zone continues to expand here in the 6th. Up, down, left, right, wherever you want it. It's strike 1. McCacken winds and delivers. Called strike on the inside edge, 0-2.
Well, George Springer didn't like the first call, and he didn't like that call either. 0-2 from Arrieta.
Well, when you call that one way outside, even if it hits the inside edge, it's not going to look great. 0-2. Down and away, and you missed by a foot, I guess they'll call it a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Doesn't really matter the strike calling. Blue Jays have 2 hits today. That's why they've scored 1 run. Nathan Lucas home run back in the 1st. 1-2 pitch. Hit on the ground softly to third on 3 hops picked up by Connor Norby. Throw to first gets there before Springer, and there are 2 outs. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman next to Chris LaRue. Show Ali, our host, Nick Blackmore, our producer, Luke Swadron, and Tom Young, our technical directors. 2 outs and Nathan Lucas back up to the plate. He provided the 1 Blue Jay run in the game. He also just threw out a runner trying to score from second on a single to end the top of the 6th. The pitch. Lucas takes a strike, 0-1.
You have to wonder if Ross Atkins is taking notice right now, penciling him in as the 4th outfielder for 2025. What a ball game for Nathan Lucas.
0-1. Way up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. I mean, it was a job that he won out of camp in 2023. Didn't get a spot out of camp in 2024. And then he hurt himself right when it seemed like there would be availability. 1-1 pitch. Up and in, ball 2. Lucas, though, in his brief stint, batting .311 with 4 doubles, 2 triples, a homer, and 10 RBIs. 2-1. Check swing, appeal down to third, no swing. Pitch was outside, although it looked pretty good, to be honest. It's 3-1. 3-1 offer it. Called strike, 3-2.
Nathan Lucas kind of tilting his head, almost threw that bat back to the Blue Jays dugout. Thought that was ball 4, but again, David Arrieta with a big zone right now.
3-2 pitch. Swing and a foul off to the left. Mix for the righty McCacken is sweeper, sinker, four-seamer, and change. A lot of sweepers to left-handed batters like Lucas. He'll mix in everything else. 5-1 Marlins, 2 outs, bases empty, and a full count in the bottom of the 6th. McCacken rocks back and deals. Called strike 3. Pitch above the zone. Why not? Nathan Lucas sat down, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Darren McCacken. We go to the 7th with the Marlins up 5-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanal giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the 9th. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend with the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
We're 2menintruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think 2menintruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2menintruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2menintruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
The 0-2 pitch. Fastball. Strike 3 looking.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Thank you so much for tuning in today. 7th inning in downtown Toronto, the Blue Jays trailing 5-1 to the Miami Marlins. Eric Swanson deals to the top of the order, and Xavier Edwards hits it back foul, 0-1. Talked about this yesterday, but yesterday Edwards became the first Marlin ever to triple 3 times in a game, the first Major League Baseball player to do it since 2014 when Yasiel Puig did it, 0-1. Hit back foul, 0-2. And the 4th player to do it in the 21st century.
Well, the most impressive thing about that is this is not a triples ballpark at all.
No. But it isn't even happening much in triples yards. Was looking over this with host Joe Ali before the game. There have been twice as many perfect games in the 21st century than there have been 4 triple games. 8 perfect games this century, and 4 times guys have hit 3 triples in a game. 0-2. High and outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And there wasn't like a guy runs in and dives and the ball bounces away. There wasn't really a funky ricochet off of any of the walls. Just kind of hit some into the right field corner or right center gap. 1-2. Pokes it down the third baseline. It's going to get off the infield, foul, still 1-2.
Well, I mentioned this earlier, but it was really impressive, especially from our vantage point up here in the third level, to watch him run hard out of the box. He runs like he's going to end up at second base every single time, whether it's an infield hit, whether it's a hit to the outfield. So you can only imagine with his speed, as he's rounding first base, that ball's in the corner, he's thinking 3 every single time.
1-2 again. Foul tip, strike 3. Swanson gets him on a splitter down and away, and it's the first out of the top of the 7th. Let's go over to the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Detroit right now trying to hold on to the second wildcard spot, still trailing the Chicago White Sox 1-0. That game in the top of the 6th inning at Comerica Park. Pitch to Connor Norby. Inside, ball 1. Mentioned Atlanta and Kansas City play at 7:20 Eastern. Also, the New York Mets taking on the Milwaukee Brewers at 7:15 Eastern. That one is in Milwaukee. 1-0 pitch grounded foul by Norby, 1-1. And then the third team in that three-way tie in the National League wildcard race, the Arizona Diamondbacks, take on the San Diego Padres in Arizona at 8:10 tonight. One-two. Awkward swing by Norby, who tried to hold up on the elevated fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Ben, what's your prediction for World Series matchup and World Series champion?
I don't know.
Tell me right now.
Give me a sec. Eric Swanson kicks in the 1-2 pitch. Grounded foul, 1-2. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the Houston Astros.
There you go.
How about you?
Ooh. I really want Dodgers-Yankees. I know that's front-running at its finest, but I really want Dodgers-Yankees. That's just fun for baseball.
Former Oriole Norby up, the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Swanson gets him on an off-speed pitch, the splitter in the dirt. And that's back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down.
Well, how about Eric Swanson right now? His stuff is about as good as it's been all season long. Really locating the fastball. That last split finger had a ton of tumbling action to it, a lot of bite to it.
That's good analysis, but you're ducking your own question. Who's gonna win the World Series?
Oh, boy. I'll go Dodgers.
All right.
Yeah.
Jake Berger up to the plate, 2 outs in the pitch. Swing and a sharp ground ball to third. Vacuumed up by Barger. Crow hop and throw to first in time to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Eric Swanson. We get to the 7th inning stretch. Marlins 5, Blue Jays 1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. We're 2 men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think 2 men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you own. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. For a free in-home estimate, call today. We're 2 men and a truck. 2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
Mondays on City TV.
My heart is racing.
Life moves forward.
It's a scene I've seen so many times.
Love finds a way.
And this time, it's me.
It's Jones time.
I am greeting the next love of my life.
For another chance at love.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready for the journey to begin.
The Golden Bachelorette. All new. Mondays 8/7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
It's Ernie Clement with the RBI single. 1-0 Toronto.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 7th inning, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leads off for the Blue Jays. 5-1, the Marlins leading Toronto. Guerrero looking for hit 200 on the season. Faces Darren McCacken. The pitch. Swing and a little bouncer in front of the plate, fielded by the catcher Johnny Pareda. He throws down to first. Guerrero goes to 0 for 3 in what could be, but isn't likely, his last plate appearance of the game.
That was a really awkward swing. It was actually a pretty good pitch from McCacken, a sinker that ran across the plate, really tied up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Obviously, he hits a weak little ground ball to the pitcher, but I guess we'll wait another at-bat.
Spencer Horwitz is up now. McCacken looking in, steps to the left, and delivers home. Called strike, 0-1. Blue Jays scored 2 in 1 inning off of McCacken on June 23rd. It was a 2-inning performance overall. 0-1. Swing and a ground ball right side, picked up by the second baseman Sanoja, turns his hips, throws to first, 2 down. In that inning, Horwitz went deep. Vlad singled and then Barger singled him in. It is looking a lot different here as the Blue Jays have not put anything in play with authority against the soft-tossing right-hander.
Yeah, like I said, just very deceptive. Everything he throws is kind of hidden behind his body as his arm is coming through, really long with the arm. You just don't see guys like that every single day. Obviously, the Blue Jays having trouble right now.
McCacken's pitch to Alejandro Kirk. Called strike 0-1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. 5-1 Marlins. Wave starting and going in both directions, starting from third base as the next pitch to Kirk is hit on a line to short, caught by Edwards, and that will do it for the bottom of the 7th inning. We go to the 8th. The Marlins 5, the Blue Jays 1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Starting September 30th, SiriusXM is giving away a pair of tickets to every MLB postseason game through the World Series. Listen to MLB Network Radio for the clues and be the first caller to correctly name the postseason hero, and you'll receive a pair of tickets to an MLB postseason game. MLB Network Radio has your chance to win on SiriusXM 89 and the all-new SiriusXM app. No transportation will be included in connection with these prizes. For full contest information and official rules, visit SiriusXM.com/MLB postseason heroes. No purchase necessary. Open only to current SiriusXM subscribers prior to September 22nd. Must be a U.S. resident over the age of 18.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too. This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription? What? Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89, or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
This is John Paul Morosi. On the new SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Joe Mauer.
Well, it's probably the second or third concussion in a short period of time that I received. Looking back, you wish you maybe would have done things a little differently.
The Road to Cooperstown airs Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89, and the all-new SiriusXM app. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
And it's gone!
Jays fans, this is John Schneider, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
There's the exclamation point for all assembled here at Rogers Center.
Radio Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership or the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to Rogers Center. 8th inning. Blue Jays and Marlins in Game 2, and the Blue Jays trailing Miami 5-1. Genesis Cabrera is into the ballgame for Toronto, taking on Jesus Sanchez to begin this inning in a left-on-left matchup. Cabrera tucks the ball into his glove, twists back and delivers home, and it's a swing and a miss and a 96-mile-an-hour sinker on the hands, 0-1. Appearance 69 on the season for Genesis Cabrera, a 3.21 ERA in just under 62 innings. 0-1. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cabrera with a 4-seamer sinker, cutter, curve, and changeup. 1-1. Swing and a fly ball hits shallow down the left field line. Moving toward foul territory, Nathan Lucas and Addison Barger run out of room. It's 1-2.
Well, Genesis Cabrera has had a very good season here with the Toronto Blue Jays. He's slowly moved into a high leverage role with the absence of Jordan Romano, with the absence of Chad Green earlier on in the season, and he's really, really impressed, throwing a ton of strikes with that plus fastball that he has.
Over the course of a non-2020 season, he's posted his best earned run average. Lefties 1-2. Broken bat, soft liner just over the leap of Barger, the third baseman, and down in left center field. Sanchez on for the 3rd time in this game after he was on 3 different times yesterday, and the Marlins continue to pour it on, up 5-1.
Well, that's an impressive piece of hitting right there. A perfect pitch down and away. Jesus Sanchez just goes down and gets it. Breaks his bat, but he was trying to do exactly that, hammering that pitch the other way.
Cabrera back on the top of the hill now, facing a right-handed hitter in Jonah Bride. A look at Sanchez and the pitch. Fastball low, 1-0. Blue Jays scored 1 run in the first inning, but the Marlins had already scored 2. Miami then added on 3 more in the 6th. That's why they're up 5-1. The pitch. Swing and a foul off of the front ankle for Bride. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jonah Bride, a 23rd rounder by the Oakland Athletics back in 2018. Debuted in 2022 and played a lot of the second half of the year with the A's. 0-2. Or pardon me, 1-1 in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Is it just me, or are we seeing more and more later round guys have success in the big leagues? And by later round, I mean
they literally
like 8,
cut
9,
out
10.
the second half. Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, there's no 23rd round anymore, obviously. But.
No. The Blue Jays don't have a first rounder right now active, as far as I'm aware. 1-2. Called strike 3 or no. I'll be honest, pretty sure it was a 1-2 count, but they say it's 2-1, so now it's called strike and it's 2-2. Blue Jays do have a first rounder, Brendan Little, although he was not their first rounder, by the way. 2-2 pitch now to Jonah Bride. In the dirt, ball 3, full count. Cabrera in the set, runner on first, nobody out. 5-1 Marlins top 8. And the pitch. Swing and a pop-up. Shallow right center field. Second baseman Schneider called off by the right fielder George Springer, makes the catch, 1 out.
Brendan Little was the 27th overall pick in the first round in 2017 out of the State College of Florida.
It's in Bradenton, Florida. I believe that's the only first rounder that the Blue Jays, well, Kevin Gausman was a first rounder as well, but not by the Blue Jays again.
A lot of
George
guys,
Springer was a first rounder.
A lot of guys that should have been a first rounder, but they were not.
Step and throw over to first, and getting back in is Jesus Sanchez. I mean, we've talked about it. The baseball draft is just very different, and considering also that you have about 3-4 years of development often between getting up. There's so much can change for guys between drafting and getting to professional baseball. Cabrera's pitch to Griffin Conine is inside. Runner takes off from first, and it skips off the glove of Kirk to the backstop. So up to second base goes Jesus Sanchez. He'll get credit for the stolen base because he was already off on the pitch. It's 1-0 now to Conine.
I mean, I've told this story before, but my draft year, 2005, the Florida Marlins, the then Florida Marlins, had 5 first-round picks that year. And one of them was even a serviceable big leaguer. It's pretty incredible.
It's just not. That's why I know there's a lot of talk. Well, the Blue Jays lose this, their lottery odds are better. You don't even know what you're getting with the first overall pick half the time. You really don't. 1-0. Swing and a grounder foul, 1-1.
Unless it's Paul Skeens.
But they said the same things about Spencer Torkelson, who's at a different position, but he was a very dominant college player, and he's not really the reason that the Tigers made this run to the playoffs. He's been up and down from the minors. The 1-1. Swing and a ground ball right side of the infield. Dive from Schneider, knocks it down, but he's got no play at first. He does keep Jesus Sanchez from scoring. If that goes into right field, almost certainly the runner who started on second comes in. Instead, it'll be an infield single for Conine, and runners on the corners for the Marlins. 1 out.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Davis Schneider has enough time to dive, catch that baseball, and throw Conine out at first base, but a really nice job. He saved that run. I'm sure Genesis Cabrera is very happy that he dove and knocked down that baseball.
Still a chance here for a double play that can keep the inning scoreless. Blue Jays are going to bring the infield, though, about halfway in, maybe a little bit more than halfway. First and third, one out. 5-1 Marlins, top of the 8th. And the pitch to Dane Myers. Low ball 1. Myers with a 2-run double in the 6th inning really helped provide some distance for the Marlins, up 5-1. Next pitch down and in, 2-0.
And he was about 2-3 feet from hitting that ball out of here.
Yeah, there's a right angle where the wall goes up a little bit just in front of the bullpen, and it kind of hit the corner of that right angle and bounced back into the field of play.
Might have been less than 2 or 3 feet.
2-0. Swing and a deep drive, left center field. Lucas racing back, so is Loperfido, and that ball is off the top of the wall. In to score is Jesus Sanchez. Around to third, Griffin Conine. It's another RBI double for Dane Myers, and Miami's up 6-1, and they think that ball might have got out of here.
Yeah, there's a railing above that light blue line. I'm assuming that they'll take a look at this.
Miami doesn't have to challenge themselves. They've actually lost their challenge already. The crew chiefs will often initiate a review on a home run or not home run call, and that's what's happening right now.
The call on the field is no home run. This will be a crew chief challenge.
Best case scenario for the Blue Jays is it's 6-1, second and third, 1 out, and it's a double. Should they overturn this call, it would be 8-1 Marlins. I think that might have stayed in, though. I think that hit the corner of the wall and bounced back, but it's really hard to tell on that replay.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit blurry, but...
actually, I think it hit that railing.
I think it bounced over. This is a quick one.
And that'll be a 3-run homer for Dane Myers, his 3rd home run of this season. And for a second straight night, the Marlins are dominating here in Toronto, now leading 8-1 in the 8th inning.
Well, that's just a good swing for Myers. Second really good swing of the day. John Schneider not happy in that dugout, obviously. And like you said, the second straight day where the Marlins are dominating the Toronto Blue Jays. 8-1 in this ball game right now. 11 hits to just 2 for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yoenis Cabrera tries to regroup after giving up the 3 runs. His pitch to Javier Sanoja is popped up, foul out of play, 0-1.
And the Blue Jays really haven't had opportunities. They've only left one guy on base in this ball game.
Really kind of on both sides of the ball. It just, most days if you give up 8 runs, you're probably not going to win. If you have a run on 2 hits going into the 8th, you're probably not going to win. 0-1. Swing and a pop-up. This one will go fair. Second baseman Schneider calling for it, makes the catch, 2 down. And maybe the more glaring thing in today's game, yesterday Jose Barrios gets blown up early. The Blue Jays go to Easton Lucas, Brett DeGuss, some of the guys that they recently brought on the roster. These are kind of the higher leverage and more likely carryover guys to next year that have pitched today. One game is one game, but Little and now Cabrera, the 2 lefties, have really not fared well. 2 down to the pitch to Johnny Pereda. Is hit in the air, center field. On the run, headed toward left center. Loperfido reaches up, and the center fielder makes the catch to end the inning. 3 runs on 3 hits for the Marlins. They're up 8-1, middle of the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, with over 2 million sold, it's Fixed Rate Pizza, a hot and fresh extra-large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for Fixed Rate Pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca. We're 2 men in a truck, the movers who care. You never know when cardiac arrest can happen. That's why each and every one of our trucks carries a life-saving Mikey defibrillator as part of our Mikey on Board program. Whether we're on the highway or in front of your house, we're prepared to help anyone whose heart may skip a beat. The Mikey Network has saved many lives, making Mikeys accessible to the public. And now they're on board our trucks. We're 2 men in a truck.
2 men and a truck, the movers who care.
Ontario is helping you keep more of what's yours. We cut the gas tax and scrap the license plate sticker fee at Drive Clean program for most vehicles, saving drivers across the province hundreds of dollars each and every year. Learn more about how you're saving more at ontario.ca/keeping costs down. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball hit to center field. Varsho with a dive, and he makes the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the 8th in downtown Toronto. Marlins 8, Blue Jays 1. I'm Ben Schulman next to Chris LaRue. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Ernie Clement leading off for Toronto against righty Darren McCacken, and the pitch. Called strike, going 1. Blue Jays hitless since the 3rd inning. A single that frame, a solo homer from Nathan Lucas in the 1st. The 0-1. High, 1 ball, 1 strike. This is the 3rd inning now that Toronto faces Darren McCacken. His pitch. Swing and a 1-hopper to short. Nice backhanded stop, Xavier Edwards. Throw high to first, and it pops out of the glove of Jake Berger. Think Clement might have been safe anyway, and I would have to guess that goes down as an infield single.
Yeah, I would imagine that's going to be a single for Ernie Clement, but what a play from Xavier Edwards out at shortstop. That was a bullet. Little short hop. Tough throw, but like you said, watching that replay, Ernie Clement was probably safe, even though that throw was high.
So leadoff base runner for the Blue Jays, down 8-1. Addison Barger coming up. They do rule it a hit for Ernie Clement, 3rd Blue Jay hit on the day. And the pitch. Outside, ball 1. If nothing else, if the Blue Jays can avoid a double play, keep it at 1 above the minimum this inning, they guarantee Guerrero gets another chance for hit number 200 in the 9th. Next pitch is a called strike to Barger, 1-1. Vlad 0 for 3 on the day. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a very high fly ball, deep right field. Sanchez back on the warning track, and he'll make the catch. Clement was way off second, or way off first rather, gets back there as he almost went all the way to second, and there's 1 out.
Well, off the bat, I thought that was hit very deep into right field, but I think he got jammed just a little bit. That fastball got in on him, and he just missed a home run out in right field.
One out now, Davis Schneider coming up to the plate. Clement leading off first. McCacken's pitch. Front door breaking ball. Not in the zone, but called a strike. It's 0-1. Schneider with a pair of groundouts today, 1 to third and 1 to short. Next offering. Check swing. That one a called strike for sure. 0-2.
I mean, McCacken only throws 89, 90 miles an hour, but like I said, there's deception, and that last fastball had a ton of movement on it.
McCacken bottom 20 in fastball velocity in Major League Baseball. Four-seamer velocity, that is. 0-2. Down and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes. For reference, Ryan Yarbrough is the 4th lowest four-seam fastball velocity in baseball. Old friend Adam Simber, the 2nd lowest.
Who's the lowest?
That's a good question. 1-2 pitch down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. McCacken sets, glove at his chest. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 down now, still Ernie Clement on first. 8-1 Marlins, bottom of the 8th.
Well, after David Schneider swung and missed on that good sinker from McCacken, he was looking out at the velo gun out in center field. I'm sure he was thinking to himself, how did I just swing and miss on an 88-mile-an-hour fastball?
Slowest four-seamer velocity in baseball, by the way, is Tyler Rogers, although he's a submarine side armor, so it's a bit of a unique situation. Pitch now to Joey Loperfido. He was the first to face McCacken today, and he takes outside ball 1. Runner on first, 2 outs. It's Ernie Clement after the leadoff single. And the pitch. Swing and a ground ball to second. Picked up by Javier Sanoja. Throw to first in time to end the inning. No runs, a hit, 1 left for the Blue Jays. We go to the 9th, 8-1 Marlins. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
I'm Andy Cohen, and I want you to feel the energy of my SiriusXM music channel, the Kiki Lounge. It's the place to come together and hear my personally crafted mix of music. Songs I love to chill with and party to. Find it all in the Kiki Lounge for a limited time on Channel 79 or always on Channel 302 on most radios and the SiriusXM app.
A new year in the NBA is right around the corner, and NBA Radio has you covered.
Tatum muscles it up and scoring the foul.
Our experts are breaking down the entire league.
That's going to be a fun team to watch.
And bringing you inside the locker room.
It is a must-win game.
Basketball season is just weeks away, and your 24/7 home for hoops is SiriusXM NBA Radio, Channel 86, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The NFL Sunday Drive is your home for the 2024 regular season.
Caught for the touchdown!
This is Steve Torrey. Join me and Bill Leckus every Sunday at noon Eastern as we take you live to every game, every touchdown, and every key moment.
Bucks take the lead with 9 seconds left.
Plus, reporters from every game, fantasy updates, and guests live from the locker room.
49ers tight end George Kittle.
Catch the NFL Sunday Drive every Sunday at noon Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Ninth inning in downtown Toronto. The Blue Jays trailing the Marlins 8-1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It's a Blue Jay debut for Nick Robertson, not the Toronto Maple Leaf forward, but rather the right-hander who pitched 8 games with the St. Louis Cardinals this year. On now for this ninth inning to face the top of the Marlins order. Six slender right-hander, kicks and delivers home. And the first pitch misses outside, ball 1. Robertson acquired by the Blue Jays off waivers on September 17th. Let go by the Los Angeles Angels, who picked him up off waivers from the Cardinals. Next pitch, hit foul, 1-1.
And Nick Robertson, just another mid-rounder, a 7th rounder out of James Madison.
You like that?
I love the 7th round.
He's drafted by the Dodgers, traded over to the Red Sox in 2023 for Kike Hernandez. This pitch goes outside, 2-1. Then traded to the Cardinals in the Tyler O'Neill deal, but let go by St. Louis mid-August. 2-1. Swing and a comebacker to the mound, backhanded by Robertson, turns and underhand flips to first, 1 out.
Well, you can definitely tell that he's not comfortable throwing to first base, that's for sure. He underhanded that ball almost, I would imagine, 35, 40 feet away from Spencer Horwitz. Usually if you're comfortable throwing that ball to first base, you turn and make a normal throw. I feel you, Nick Robertson.
Robertson back on the hill, a righty who has a 4-seamer change, slider, and sweeper. His pitch to Connor Norby is one of those breaking balls, the sweeper outside, ball 1. He's 94-95 with the 4-seam fastball. 1-0. Foul back, 94 elevated. It's 1-1. Blue Jays added Robertson to the Major League roster today and optioned Easton Lucas. 1-1 pitch is upstairs at 94, 2 balls and 1 strike.
And I can almost guarantee that 94 feels like 96, 97 with that 6'6" frame. Really long guy.
2-1. Called strike with the fastball, 2-2. Yeah, StatCast credits Robertson with 95th percentile extension, getting way down the mound. 2-2. Swing and a liner, caught by the second baseman Schneider, who goes down to a knee. And there are 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Robertson asks for time in a new baseball. Jake Berger stepping up to the plate. Nobody aboard, 2 down. The pitch. High ball 1. Blue Jays trailing 8-1, but a lot of Blue Jay fans sticking around, and perhaps it's because Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is scheduled to hit in the bottom of the 9th. 1-0. Called strike, 1-1. Vlad on the cusp of 200 hits, sitting on 199. And it doesn't look like they're going to pinch hit for him or substitute him out. He's got the elbow protector on right now in the dugout. 1-1 pitch hit high in the air by Berger. Springer going back in right field on the warning track. He'll make the catch and end the inning. 1-2-3 in the debut of Nick Robertson as a Toronto Blue Jay. He sends us to the bottom of the 9th where the Marlins lead 8-1. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle.
Beat the rush. Protect your vehicle with Canada's #1 rust protection today. Find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
It's time to celebrate you with the party at the ballpark. On Friday, September 27th, dial up your fall wardrobe with the Blue Jays Fanal giveaway presented by TD.
They go back-to-back in the bottom of the 9th. How much fun was that? It is loud here at Rogers Center, and 40,000 are chanting his name.
Get ready for good vibes and a chance to win great prizes.
What a weekend for the Blue Jays.
Fan Appreciation Weekend, presented by TD, September 27th, 28th, and 29th. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Bichette powers the ball to left field. Going back, Peralta. It's out of here.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Alley with you. We're down at the Rogers Center as the Jays trail the Marlins 8-1 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Don't forget, we do have Jays Talk today. Nick Ashburn is here at the Rogers Center with me. He and I will have the post-game show. We'll take your calls and texts. 590-590, name and location. That's the People's Text line. We'll throw out the phone numbers after this one's in the books. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. The Jays trail the Marlins 8-1 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning here at the Rogers Center. George Springer in the box. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you, Show. Darren McCacken still on the mound. The reliever in his 4th inning of work gets the top of the Blue Jay order. Pitch to George Springer. Swing and a foul off, 0-1. Barring some sort of Herculean comeback, Chris, the focus right now on the guy due up 3rd this inning, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. A 1 pitch. Check swing. Pitch called inside, 1-1.
Well, and like you mentioned earlier, I think a lot of the people that have stayed in the building so far tonight, even though the Blue Jays are down 8-1, they are waiting to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
1-1 pitch, fought off foul, a breaking ball in on the hands, 1-2.
And he really hasn't had any good at-bats today. I think that he's really struggled. He's not seeing the ball well today. Hopefully that changes in his next at-bat.
One-two to Springer. Hit foul down the right field line.
And, of course, if he does not get a base hit in this at-bat, he'll probably be in the lineup tomorrow. John Schneider knows that he's going for that 200-hit mark, a very special mark, especially for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Only 5 Blue Jays have ever done it. 1-2. Outside, 2-2. First, though, George Springer and then Nathan Lucas each have one of the 3 Blue Jay hits today. 2-2. Inside, ball 3. McCacken over 40 pitches when he delivers his next one. 3-2 pitch hit foul. Most recent Blue Jay to come up with 200 hits is Vernon Wells in 2003. He has the club single season record with 215. Shannon Stewart, 202 in 2001.
That is a long time ago.
It is.
21 seasons.
Yeah.
Wow.
3-2. And that's up and in, ball 4. Looks pretty good, actually, to be honest, and I think that's why there's a chuckle from McCacken, but Springer will take a walk.
That is certainly not a fun chuckle out there from McCacken. That was very much in the strike zone. George Springer, I can only assume, thought that was a strike as well. He kind of waited a second before he started taking his stuff off and going to first base, but a pretty good pitch from McCacken.
So runner on first. They're not going to hold Springer on. Jake Berger, the first baseman, plays behind him. 8-1 Marlins, bottom 9. Pitch to Nathan Lucas is hit in the air to center field. Playable for Dane Myers. He makes the catch, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will step up to the plate. It's 2003, Vernon Wells with 215. 2001, Shannon Stewart with 202. In 1993, Paul Molitor had 211, and John Olerud had 200. And in 1986, Tony Fernandez had 213. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 0 for 3 today, sitting on 199 hits, faces Darren McCacken. From the stretch, the pitch. Breaking ball down the middle, strike 1.
Ooh, I bet he wanted that pitch back. Little spinning breaking ball from McCacken right down the middle.
Guerrero faced McCacken in the 7th and was retired on a first pitch bouncer in front of home plate. 0-1. Just below the knees, 1 ball, 1 strike. Still the majority of the 35,723 in attendance as Guerrero faces a 1-1 pitch. Fouled back off the foot of the catcher Pareda, who somersaults forward into the lefty batter's box and is pressing his head down into the dirt in clear pain. Up to his feet now, it's 1-2. Pareda, though, has flipped the mask off, and trainer Lee Meyer is out right now to check on him as Guerrero pounded that into the foot of the catcher's crouched behind him.
Yeah, that actually got him on the toe, the unprotected part of that toe, and that's why he's flipping around. He's in obvious pain.
Acting manager Luis Ureta out there with the trainer. And it looks like Pareda is all right. He turns his Marlins cap back around, puts the Goldie-style mask back on his head, and gets an applause from the Blue Jay crowd as Vlad Guerrero Jr. waits to step back in. Runner on first, 1 out, 8-1 Marlins, bottom of the 9th inning. And Guerrero looking for hit number 200. Vladdy steps in, pats the plate twice, and looks out at McCacken. Right-hander set at his chest. McCacken rocks back, and the 2-1 is hit foul. Pardon me, that was a 1-2, and it was hit foul. Guerrero stays alive. Nearly a foul tip into a strikeout, but Pareda couldn't hold on to it. And so Vlad's got another chance. Crowd getting loud. They want to see one more hit from Guerrero this year. Another 1-2. Foul tip, strike 3. Vlad goes down, and there are 2 outs.
I mean, that's a pretty good pitch from McCacken. He threw a lot of good pitches in that at-bat. Some sliders off the plate, and then he goes upstairs just above the strike zone with a pretty good sinker, a ton of movement, and Vlad just below it. I guess we'll see him in the lineup tomorrow.
Looks like it. Spencer Horwitz is up now. Blue Jays down to their final chance. 8-1 Marlins lead. And the pitch. Called strike, 0-1. Marlins have led the whole way, scoring 2 with 2 outs in the first inning. Blue Jays got their lone run so far in the bottom half, and then the Marlins added on 3 in the 6th and 3 in the 8th. 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Xavion Curry got a spot start for the Marlins in this one. Went 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. And Darren McCacken has only given up an infield single and a walk in 3 2/3 of relief work. Here's 1-1. Horwitz takes it at the top of the zone. It's 1-2.
Horwitz didn't like that call, but that's a really good pitch. A little front hip sinker. Started it at the hip of Spencer Horwitz, and then it just kind of sank right over the middle of the plate.
1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, 8-1 Marlins, and Horwitz asks for time. Horwitz back in the box, and McCacken is set. The 1-2. Swing and a flare out to left field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Horwitz dumps one into left field and keeps the game going. First and second for the Blue Jays. 2 outs, 8-1 Marlin lead. What that does for Alejandro Kirk is potentially big, though. Kirk 0 for 2 today with a walk. Still has a chance now to extend that 18-game hit streak. He has extended his on-base streak to now 20 games to match the longest active in baseball, tying Justin Turner. The pitch. Called strike, 0-1.
And I would imagine that this would be Alejandro Kirk's last at-bat of the season.
Feels like it. Started each of the last 2 days. 0-1. Swing and a pop-up. Jake Berger, the first baseman, camped under it in foul territory, makes the catch, and the Marlins take the game and the series. 8-1. Miami beats Toronto. It stayed close until the middle stages, but the Marlins really took control, and Toronto was not in it at all after the 6th.
Yeah, even from the first inning, it felt like the Marlins were really in control of this ball game, but Yariel Rodriguez struggled in that first inning. He struggled to find the strike zone. He threw a lot of pitches, really nibbling around the zone. And then all of a sudden, from the second inning on, he was really, really good, throwing a lot of strikes with the fastball. He mixed in that really good slow breaking ball, 72, 73 miles an hour. And I venture to say that Ross Atkins and John Schneider really took notice of Yariel Rodriguez today. We talked before the game whether he would be in the bullpen, whether he would be in the starting rotation in 2025. He looked very, very much like a starting pitcher to me today.
Blue Jays, though, didn't come up with a lot of offense, and the bullpen surrendered a handful of runs, and because of that, it's an 8-1 final in favor of Miami. We're going to step aside, wrap it up on the other side, and get you over to Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali and Nick Ashbourne. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Buck Martinez, live from the showdown between Pizza and inflation. First to the plate, Pizza's big hitter, fixed rate pizza. An extra large 4-topping pizza for a fixed price of $17.99 until the end of 2024. I dare say, folks, inflation stands no chance against this all-star. Here's the delivery. And inflation strikes out. That's a swing and a drive for fixed rate pizza. Lock in yours today.
Order pizza.ca.
We're twomenandtruck.ca. We've got lots of men and lots of trucks, so get ready to be moved.
Think two men and a truck, twomenandtruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two men and a truck, twomenandtruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, two men and a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
They got him. A strike him out, throw him out, double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. The Marlins beat the Blue Jays today 8-1, taking the final series of the season, winning each of the first two in dominant fashion. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. We mentioned a lot about the Blue Jay pitching, Chris. Yariel Rodriguez, solid enough in the start, 5 innings, 3 earned runs, although tough first with the 2 runs, and then the third run that he allowed was actually an inherited runner left on first that came all the way around to score. So maybe a little bit better of a day than the box score would suggest. And on the other side, Xavier Curry gets the spot start. Darren McCacken gets the relief appearance behind him in a long relief role. Not exactly guys that are on the marquee that have banners outside of the ballpark in Miami, yet they dominated today. 9 innings of 1-run ball combined with only 4 hits allowed.
Well, Curry and McCacken were very good today. They're obviously not overpowering guys. We talked about that a lot, especially McCacken. McCacken 88 to 90 miles an hour with that fastball. But these are two guys that know exactly how to pitch. They navigated this lineup really, really well, throwing the right pitches, keeping these Blue Jays hitters off balance with their off-speed stuff, with their fastball inside. And it was just fun to watch. I know that doesn't sound like I should be saying that as a Blue Jays broadcaster, but as a former pitcher, I enjoy watching guys with subpar stuff really dominate big league lineups, and Curry and McCacken really did that today.
They did it well enough that the 2 runs in the first inning for the Marlins would have been enough. The Marlins win 8-1 today, 8 runs on 11 hits. No errors, 4 left on for Miami. The Blue Jays, 1 run, 4 hits, no errors, 4 left on. Xavier Curry with the win goes to 2-2. Yariel Rodriguez with the losses 1-8. Second career save for Darren McCacken, or second save of the season, I should say, as he pitched more than just the last 3 innings of the win. This one took 2 hours and 33 minutes in front of a crowd of 35,723, and the Marlins win it to go to 61-100. The Blue Jays drop this game, and they fall to 74-87. One more game coming up in the 2024 season. It'll go tomorrow at the same time as this one. 3:07 is the first pitch. There'll be pregame locally on 590 in Toronto starting at 2 o'clock, and Blue Jays talk, as always, following the game. Thank you so much for tuning in today. For our technical directors, Luke Swadron and Tom Young, our producer, Nick Blackmore, our host, Joe Ali, and my partner, Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. Hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow. But stick around. Get your calls, get your texts in. It's Blue Jays Talk with Joe Ali and Nick Ashbourne starting right now.
Well, not tough to say this about the penultimate game of the season, but that's about 2.5 hours of our lives we're never going to get back. Oh, boy, another blowout loss to a team that entered this series with 100 losses. I'm not entirely sure that really matters, like all things considered, other than you and I, the fans, obviously a pretty packed ballpark down here at the Rogers Center today. Maybe it doesn't matter other than us just simply wanting the Jays to end things on a high note, but either way, boy, that's an ugly 8-1 loss for the Jays here at the Dome this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, prior to the game, I said something to the effect of, it's almost certain to be a better game today than it was last night.
You did say that.
And in a literal sense, they lost by fewer runs, but at least yesterday they had some things happen for them. Offensively, they had some fun pitching performances with Tyler Heineman coming in at the end there and nailing down the game. And this one, you know, you've got a Nathan Lucas home run, the first of his MLB career. That is a little bit of a bright spot. You had Yariel Rodriguez finishing the season on a pretty solid note after a rough first inning, but man, beyond that, this was a death march pretty much from start to finish.
Yeah, bit of a dog's breakfast, let's put it that way. That's Nick Ashburn. I'm Show Ali. You're listening to Jays Talk live on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're also streaming on sportsnet.ca and on the Sportsnet app. You can give us a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-866-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text us as well, 590-590, name and location. The People's text line always open. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. Yeah, it's true. I mean, the two bright spots, I guess, in this game are Yariel Rodriguez and Nathan Lucas, and I expect we'll spend most of the time talking about those two guys tonight. I do want to get to the bullpen at some point because we saw basically, like yesterday, we did not see the highest leverage relievers for the team play. Today, outside of Chad Green, you pretty much saw all of the high leverage relievers pitch for the most part. You saw Brendan Little had pitched relatively well over the course of the season. Did not pitch relatively well today. Eric Swanson, we saw Yenesis Cabrera. So I do want to talk about all of those guys. But as we wait for the calls, wait for texts, I do want to talk a little bit about Yariel Rodriguez. Because like you mentioned, Nick, his final start of the year. So 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all of which were earned. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 82 pitches, 54 strikes. He actually finishes his season with a 4.36 ERA over 86 2/3. If you count the minor league innings, it's 107 innings pitched. That's not terrible, I would say, when you consider that that's his first ever season in the big leagues. You know what I mean? Like, you got to see on the whole, it's certainly today to a certain extent, but on the whole of the year, you got to see the upside with his stuff, the selection of the pitches he has in his arsenal. I'm not sure down the stretch here we were ever going to get a particularly definitive answer as to, look, is he as a starter? Is he in the bullpen next year? Many of the listeners had pointed out that due to his contract structure, lack of minor league options next year, he cannot be optioned. So come hell or high water, Yariel Rodriguez is a Blue Jay next season. And I tend to think it is not a terrible fate if Y-Rod is in the bullpen as a long man with the ability to start next year, given the lack of options in the bullpen, as we've discussed before. But I suppose it does mean you need the team to go out and buy another starter in free agency. But I don't know. On the whole, if you're looking at Y-Rod's season, I'm curious how you would grade him, let's say.
He's someone that you have to grade on a curve. It's not about pure results. And to be honest, the Blue Jays are a little bit – lucky is the wrong word because this has been a really bad season. You could argue it's been an unlucky season. But for his development in particular, the way this year played out is actually quite good because they were able to massage his workload, bring him in and out of games in the way that felt safest to them, as opposed to really prioritizing, oh, he's really rolling, we got to push him deeper into the game, or he's flailing a bit, we got to get him out of there. Instead, they were able to say, this is actually what we need from him today. We need about 4 innings. We need about 60 to 75 pitches. They were able to kind of tinker with that all year long, and the end goal was to get him a baseline that he can build upon to be a more traditional starter potentially next season if you were to win a job. And so when you have 107 innings pitched, if next year you go out and pitch 150, that's not a crazy buildup. And this is a guy who, again, last year barely pitched competitively. The year before he was a reliever. So they had to let him lay down this foundation. Now, over the year we saw, he got tired. His velocity did flag. There were moments where things looked a little bit ugly, but they got him through it. The results were okay. Like you mentioned, that ERA 40-36. Like, that's slightly below average, but it's not terrible for a guy figuring out this level. He flashed some stuff. He's going to be a really interesting guy to track next season. But if you ask the Blue Jays front office, what do you want from him this year in 2024? I think the first thing they would have mentioned is workload, and that's a check mark. And the second thing they would have mentioned is, did he show us that he could potentially be a starter longer term? They didn't get a definitive answer on that, but the door remains open. And I think this season is a pretty good outcome for them, even though it was choppy at times and even though some of the individual outings were weird because they had to massage the workload and the pitch count.
And they were just so intense, so adamant on managing that pitch count that I think I agree with you when I say if we're talking about how the Blue Jays evaluate Yariel Rodriguez, they have to be pleased, if only because they now have a couple of options with him. And I mean, and again, like, is it a given that he will be the 5th starter next year? No, mainly because I don't think there are any. I would say there are not a lot of certainties about the Blue Jays in 2025. Like, beyond that, Vladdy will be on this team, and I'll say George Springer will be on the team because of his contract. Alejandro Kirk will also be on the team because of his relative youth, I suppose, but he picked it up towards the end of the season. But like, apart from the obvious candidates, there's not a lot that's 100% known as a slam dunk about this team going into the season next year. And we do know that Wyrod, like I said, will be on the team. It's just what his role will be. It's probably not something we'll even know until until most of the free agents have been signed, essentially? Maybe not even then.
I'd say potentially into spring training. Like, not a lot of teams enter spring training and say, this is our rotation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if anything, the Blue Jays might have a little bit more certainty there than some other teams because if healthy, Gausman, Barrios, and Bassett are all in the mix. And Bowden Francis did such a good job down the stretch that you're inclined to believe that he's there too as the number 4. So I imagine that Rodriguez will be part of a number 5 mix where people are competing for a job. Like, he's competing. You could argue he has a leg up, again, because he was able to get this workload in, because he showed some things, and because of that contract would look better as a starter than as a reliever, to be honest. I think the only other guy that we know would be in that mix potentially would be Jake Bloss.
Sure.
Because he's a well-regarded prospect. He's reached AAA. He did struggle when he went to Buffalo. There's no doubt about that. But I think he would have an ability to compete for that spot. And then beyond that, as you mentioned, we don't know exactly what the offseason looks like. But the most likely scenario is the Blue Jays feel like the 5th spot is one that multiple players are competing for, and Rodriguez is extremely likely to be one of those guys.
416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Go to the text line, 590-590, name and location in a sec. That's the People's text line. So it is always open. Standard data and messaging rates may apply. I see a couple of texts here already. But before we go to the text line, let's go to the phones, Nick. Let's go to Jay right here in Toronto. Jay, what's up? What's on your mind today, man?
Yeah, just a quick question. If next year we get, like, say, 2 bombers in our lineup, what do you think the chances are of those guys like Luke Fiedel, Schneider, Barger, all starting in the minors?
So you're saying, like, what are the chances of them starting in the minors if they do sign those 2 thumpers, essentially?
Yeah, because essentially you cannot sustain those 3, as well as, like, Varshall and Springer also, like, swing and miss guys. So you can't have 5 guys, with the same style of hitting up in the majors, can we?
No, I'm with you, Jay. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I think I've been kind of like saying something along those lines for a couple of weeks, if only because the logjam the Blue Jays, Nick, have at a variety of positions essentially means even if they do sign 2 really good bats, 2 thumpers, as Barker likes to say, even if they do that, I think it really essentially means that the cascading effect is that not everyone can be a Blue Jay next year. Like, maybe if injuries happen and we talk about guys getting called up, that's going to happen. That's just like the way of baseball, the way of professional sports. But it almost is a given that some of those guys, and Jay mentioned Barger, Schneider, and Loper Fido. I mean, look at the rest of the roster. Even if you look at the team today, I mean, on the bench today, Luis De Los Santos, Leo Jimenez, Jonathan Clase, Tyler Heineman, Stuart Burrow. Like, what are the chances that all of those guys are Blue Jays next year? Very
zero.
Slim,
right? Quite literally zero.
Like,
you included
Jimenez,
Stuart Burrow on that list.
Like, Jimenez is probably a Blue Jay next year.
Yes, he's going to be out of options, so that's a big part with him. Like, a lot of it has to do with options. Who can you send to the minor leagues? And outside of Jimenez, who will be out of options next season, they'll have that ability with these guys, with Clase, with Schneider, with Loper Fido, with Barger. So guys who don't fit, they're probably getting bumped down to bench roles. Some guys will get bumped down to bench roles. Some guys will get sent to the minors. Potentially, a couple of these guys will get traded, too. We talk about the amount of position players they have who are sort of MLB ready. You're looking for relief help. You're looking for a variety of things. Some of them might get moved in deals as well. I think it's 3 buckets. It's your role comes down a little bit, you get traded, or you get sent to the minors. But a lot of them will stay in the organization and probably start at AAA and, wait for injuries or poor performances to shake things up.
Yeah, like Horwitz has options, I believe, but I think he's going to be on the team next year, barring a trade. Ernie Clement, I believe, is out of options, but regardless, I also believe that Clement has played himself into a spot next year, so I don't really think we have to talk too much about Horwitz and Clement because they're going to be on the team next season, probably regardless. I said this to you in the pregame show, man. I want to see a little bit more from Madison Barger. It's just specifically offensively. Like, I think I know what Barger is defensively. He has a cannon for an arm. He plays pretty well on the dirt. When he's on the grass and right field, more often than not, I guess he could play left, but for the most part, you want to see him in right. And he acquits himself, all things considered, pretty well. So I feel pretty confident about his defensive work. But offensively, it's so tantalizing, but I just wanted to see him do it a little bit more. And I wonder what he does have to do between now and, let's say, the season essentially to figure that out.
I talk about those three buckets, right? Small role, minors, trade. For me, I would take him out of small role. I don't think he's a great bench player.
Right.
I think he's someone who needs regular bats, in part because his big weakness is that his approach to the plate is a bit raw and unrefined. So I don't think he's someone you want sitting on the bench getting very occasional at bats. I think you'd want to send him back to minor leagues. Like, as you said, he's a little bit raw at the plate. There needs to be more work done there. I think it's either another organization really likes his tools and you move him, or you send him back to the minor leagues. And Loperfido fits in that bucket, too. I don't think Loperfido has done enough since coming over from the Astros organization where you're comfortable saying, oh, he's definitely on the MLB roster. So he's a player who, maybe he's a fourth outfielder type, but Nathan Lucas is probably a safer bet in that type of role. I could see Loperfido going back to the minors, or again, potentially getting traded if there's another team that really likes those tools.
Yeah, to Jay's question, I wouldn't be surprised if Barger, Loperfido were the guys going down. I mean, alongside De Los Santos, Clase, Baroa. Heineman probably won't even be in the organization next year, probably. You never know, I suppose, but it seems unlikely. But Schneider, with Davis Schneider, it just seems like they have so much confidence in him that I don't think he's necessarily played himself into a spot on the Major League roster next season because he's played so poorly for much of the second half of the year. But on the flip side, Nathan Lucas, to your point, I mean, today smokes his first major league home run, the bottom of the first inning. Later in the game, he makes a great throw to get the runner at the plate. To end the inning, he had a pretty good game. And I had said to you in the pregame show that if I have my druthers, that we were discussing the filling guy for Varsho, if indeed the rotator cuff surgery for Varsho keeps him out for, let's say, like a couple weeks or a month or whatever it ends up being to start the year, if that is the case, then I'm kind of good with Lucas being the fill-in guy over Clase, Loperfido, Schneider. Like, whoever that person is would, in all likelihood, once Varsho returns, flip to being, I'm guessing, the fourth outfielder, if you do believe one of these two thumpers is going to be in left field. But, I mean, there are a lot of options they can go. You mentioned they could always sign two thumpers to be the DH and first baseman, DH third baseman, and leave the left field spot open, which I think is a great idea. If they had to, because it seems unlikely they're going to sign three thumpers. If we're putting it that way. So I don't know. I think I'm feeling comfortable with free agent in left, Varsho in center, Springer in right, Lucas as your fourth outfielder, and then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad setup at all. I mean, we'll see what happens with George Springer and his continued decline potentially. Maybe that's something that gets addressed midway through next season if he really isn't able to compete as kind of an everyday player. But, that's some doom and gloom that can be dealt with another day. There's already plenty of doom and gloom from this game and in the present. Nathan Lucas, he's really a feel-good story. Today was his 781st pro game between the minors and the majors. He worked his way up here. He finally got that first MLB home run. He's someone, because of his age, because he's a bit of a minor league veteran as opposed to a prospect, he's rarely going to get kind of the benefit of the doubt. He's rarely going to get people carving out a spot for him. He has to fight for that spot. And to be honest, everything that he's done since coming up has been working towards that goal. There's not a lot more he could have done with the Blue Jays to prove that he's someone who belongs at the MLB level.
416-870-0590, 1-888-660-0590, star 590 on your cell. Let's go to Ian in Ridgeville. Ian, what's up? What's on your mind today, man?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I wanted to say about Yariel.
This has been Major League Baseball play-by-play on SiriusXM. And the SiriusXM app. Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game?
Why do I love calling this game?
It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game.
It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet.
Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center.
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play. Oh, my.
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.
I don't believe what I just saw.
And the way the right voice can make a moment live forever.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Outsiders may think this is just two teams.
A ball, a bat, and a microphone. But no.
For over 100 years, this has been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck it out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
The soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio.
Right now on Sirius XM.
All rise.
Coming in 5.
Get ready to play.
4.
Get up.